What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another very special Pokemon Rants. Steel and iron are some of the strongest materials we have, and we've built the world's infrastructure around it today, revolutionizing our ability for travel, manufacturing, construction, and so much more. It's the bedrock of which we all depend on. In that same foundational way, we are now sitting here with the man himself, Beerski Collects. Not only is he an iron and steel worker himself, but he's also laying the bedrock of our Pokemon hobby, of which we all love so dearly. From his frozen mustache in the brutal winters to the scorching multi showers of the hot summer days, Beerski pours his sweat and hard work into now the Pokemon hobby as a collector, a buyer, a seller, but most importantly, a beloved member. With that ever so critical, important phone call from his mom during the hype of 2020. Son, grab your Pokemon and turn on the TV. Just like that, we start a new journey of life. So let's drop down our welding shields to protect your senses to see what happens next, as we're going to unleash the floodgates here with Beerski Collect. Beerski, welcome to Pokemon Wonder.
My man, what's going on? That was awesome. Yeah, dude. Best intros in the game, too. What can I say? That was wonderful. Thank you.
Hey, guys. Everybody, good to see you in the chat.
What's good, everyone?
As we always do, we rock it in with that. How did it get started? Where did the fuel, the fire come from? In your case, the steel and the iron. Let us know, and we'll go off from there.
All right. So, man, Pokemon started for me. I was... let's see, 90. I was 10 years old. I got a Kiwi Lime or Kiwi Green Game Boy Color. And I got Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue for my birthday that year. I played a lot of Blue, not so much Red. I don't know why I went with the Blue. I think because of Blastoise was my favorite when I was a kid. Squirtle. I loved Squirtle. Yeah. Squirtle Squad was awesome. Like that whole evolutionary line is the best. So I played a lot of that. And then I got into the trading cards, like everyone else. There was actually a card store in town.
Nice.
I can actually remember walking there as a kid. It was right on the corner. It was like maybe 10, 15 blocks away. And we would go there, and he always had just one.
You could walk?
Yeah, could walk. Yeah, nice. Absolutely could walk. Yeah. Ride our bikes, whatever. It was a smaller town in Manville, probably like 10,000 people. So not quite a city, but not quite, a small town. So, so called Manville, New Jersey. We would go there. He always had one booster box of base set. Always. It was always open. You grab a couple packs, pay for it. So like the first big 3 holo ever pulled was a Venusaur. I can remember that moment being in the house. Like I can see the house I lived in then, which is crazy. Like what nostalgia will bring back to you. I remember running outside, holding it up so desperate. My mom was like, "Look what I just got!" And I was so pumped. And then I pulled another Venusaur, and I wasn't so happy about the second one later, but because I already had the one. But that first one was awesome. Ended up pulling a Blastoise. Never pulled the Charizard though. And then my mother actually bought a booster box. Funny enough, man, I told her, I was like, if you would have just kept that booster box sealed, and, tucked it away and forgot about it, we'd be good. So she bought a booster box and would give us packs every once in a while. So she was good like that. My mom was real good with giving us packs, and it was me and my sister. My sister really wasn't so much into it, but I was more into it. Did trading cards in the games for a while. But I was already, I was 10. So by the time I was in 8th grade, it kind of all started going away. I moved. Pokemon really wasn't cool where I moved. So I kind of just I remember I had a Pokemon shirt. I was in 6th grade. And I wore it. And I swore I would never wear it or talk about Pokemon again. It was a bad day at school. So it was just wasn't cool anymore for whatever reason. So I stopped. I got more involved in sports and video games and stuff like that. And then, flash forward, I kind of didn't do any of the Pokemon Go phase. I downloaded it, I played it for a little bit, but it didn't get me back in the cards or anything. I didn't really correlate that. And then in 2020, like you said, my mom called me. I was just hanging around. She's like, "You still have your binder from a kid?" And I was like, "Yeah, I still have my binder from a kid." She goes, "Well, you should take a look at him because there's this guy who's she was talking, I think it was Jake Paul or Logan Paul, whatever Logan Paul was. And she mentioned him specifically, which is funny because like we never talked about that guy ever. And then I started looking through stuff and going down the rabbit holes and started paying way too much for booster boxes and ETBs because there was none around. Like stupid amounts for Shining Fates, just terrible numbers. Like I want to go back and just be like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, but it was all part of like getting into the hobby and like starting to rip stuff again. Like I think that's how most people get in. They just like rip and rip, and then you kind of evolve from ripping, or you just stay ripping. Like there's an evolutionary path for Pokemon people as well. You go from that and you kind of either build up or you kind of find your spot. So you can get really far down in that hole if you want to go. And I've tumbled quite far down it now.
Well, and just to stay on the money topic for a second, you know, I think to your point, we all start there at some point, but it's also if we stop for a second and we don't think about, oh, we paid double MSRP or whatever the stupid price was. It was also some of the most fun. It was so exciting. Like your ride to whatever Walmart or Target, looking like it was exciting.
Yeah,
exciting. Like I can't wait to see what I can get.
There was
good stuff.
So where I am in New Jersey, there's not a lot of local card shops. So I have to drive like probably a half hour to 45 minutes to get to one. Well, one guy was selling Vivid Voltage at booster boxes at MSRP. So I bought a whole bunch of them. I ripped, I think, 5 Vivid Voltage booster boxes. I pulled a Rainbow Pikachu.
Yeah.
Spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I sold the card for $118. I'm like, I'm rich. Like, what's up? Like, look at me go.
Let's double down.
Yeah, let's just keep rolling this into it. So the first little bit was very degen. But it was fun.
It was, yeah. So that kind of got you back in, but that didn't necessarily bring you to this very moment. What was the gap between jumping back in 2020 to now? Was it Collecticon or?
So 2020, I kind of played around with Pokemon for a little bit into 2021, and then I just kind of abruptly stopped. I didn't keep with it. In that time, I bought my first graded card. The actual first graded card I ever bought was from Dan, and it was a it was a PSA 9 Psyduck Scream card, and I actually still have the. I still have his business card from that. Yeah, it's right here. Like the old Dan business card. Is that the old one? Here's the old one. So I still have his old business card.
Nice.
And that was the one that it came in.
So
I had that for a long time. I ended up selling that recently at Collecticon last year, actually. But then I kind of abruptly stopped. I got out of the hobby completely. I really wasn't paying attention to much. I think maybe I got intimidated by the amount of sets that were coming out. I felt like I couldn't keep up. I also didn't have this group that I'm, talk to and consider friends now. I was on Reddit groups. I was trying to do a little selling through Reddit. It's brutal trying to sell through Reddit. Dude, I sold like perfect cards. This guy was telling me they were all gummed up on the backs. And I was like, all right, I just can't do this. So I kind of stopped. And then I went to buy my best friend a graded coin. He collects like World War II memorabilia and stuff like that. So this was September 2022. I bought him a graded coin, and then when I got the coin, I was like, because it was a PGSC or whatever, PGCS, whatever that grading company is for coins. I was like, So I went and I started looking in my closet, and I was like, all right, graded cards. And then I was hooked again. And I was like, well, if I'm getting him this, I'm going to look at some stuff. And then I really started going down the rabbit hole. I think I found Merch's channel. Watched him saying how great Collecticon Denver was. Then I started watching Dan's old videos with Nick. Because of the card. Because I remember like when I got this card and it said the Pokenomics stuff on it. I was like, Pokenomics? And I started looking into it then, and I was like, man, these people are like really deep into this stuff. Like there's a whole like economic thing with this. I didn't know what was going on. So then I started watching his videos, and then that was like I was hooked. I was watching everyone's videos. I was getting into stuff. I think Seance was coming out at that time for MetaZoo. So I bought a booster box of that because people were talking. So I was just kind of buying a little bit of everything, opening a little bit. I remember someone was like, don't buy a lot of those. It's like a pump and dump. He's like, don't get used to that. And I was like, all right. So, it just kind of compounded from there. And then I went to Collecticon, and that like changed my life. That one Collecticon did more for me in my adult life and like more fulfillment than I think any endeavor I've gone into since like my marriage. Like that was the biggest thing.
Huge impact.
And then like, you know what I mean? Like I've tried multiple other hobbies and multiple other things. And like this one just feels right and stuck. And like Collecticon, meeting everyone, talking to everyone, chatting with everyone. Just all around like the welcoming feel and just being part of the hobby. Just like it sucked me in, man. And then PK had me on his live, and then that started this whole thing. So like it just kept compounding. And like I said, I was evolving through, and I've kind of found my stride, and I'm like very happy with where I'm at right now with all of this. It's awesome.
It's Charlotte, right?
Charlotte, yeah, Charlotte.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate that I missed you, man. I hate that I missed you.
Yeah, right. And you know what? I miss Chef too. Like, but I was so unknown. Like I was just lurking.
I was too, yeah. I was just walking through with my kids. I was just a normal guy.
Yeah, I was lurking in the Pokenomics Discord. I wasn't even in Oaks Discord yet. Like I was just lurking. Laughing at Walrus and all of his crazy comments and telling Danny sucks and stuff at the end of his live. Like I was like, what? These people are wild. Like this is awesome. And then I met him in person. I was like, these people you can hang out with too. Like what's going on here? Like I've been real my whole adult life. Like, what the fuck? What's going on? So
I love it. Good, man. Well, we're glad you're here. We are super glad you're here, man.
I'm glad to be here. I don't ever want to leave.
I know, right? It feels like home, right?
Damn right.
Like home. Yeah. Cheers to that, for sure.
Cheers.
Cheers to Pokemon as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do a quick acknowledgement here of all of our good friends in the chat, as always. And I know I saw Dan in there earlier. I don't know what happens with YouTube. They always drop off the first few comments. The early gang always gets dropped off. You got Gym Leader Pepe in there. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Navi Station. Good to see you, Navi. Got this guy Beersky collects. I'm not sure who he is. I have to go back and check that one out.
What a bum that guy is, right?
Shug Nasty in the house. Good to see you, Shug. Professor Birch is in here as well. Crystal's in the house. Terry Lake's here as well.
Terror Bear. What's going on, buddy?
I know you're probably going to head out soon, but I appreciate you stepping by, Terry, man. Got Mystic in here. I'm not sure who that one is. Good to see you, Mystic. Thanks for coming by. Got Fat Buddy Collects in here. SDC's in the house. Good to see you, SDC. A lot of good friends in here. A lot of good people.
Squirtle Squad for life. I love
Chef's
it.
In the house.
What's up, Chef?
Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. TKK is in here as well. Good to see you, bud. Well, we'll keep it rolling, my friend, and then we'll always try to weave in the chat here as we get moving through the conversation. We were kind of speaking a little bit before in terms of what you do for a living, but that's not where you started. You actually started with a semester of college. What were you shooting for?
Okay, so I out of high school, I actually joined the National Guard, the Army.
Yeah, because you mentioned basic training, but I didn't hear you say what for. Okay.
Yeah, basic training. Yeah. I joined the National Guard because I was 17 when I graduated high school, and that's all my parents would sign for me. They wouldn't let me go regular Army because they had to actually sign my papers because I wasn't an adult yet. So that's the only way they would do it. So I went to basic training, did all that, took a semester of college at Rowan University. Actually, my wife graduated from Rowan University. Did not know that when I went there, but like, obviously,
that's so cool.
What a small world, right? And I had like people I played football with in high school went to Rowan University too. So it was kind of like just going there, and she knows those people. So it's just a crazy small world. But I originally wanted to be a history teacher. I had a history teacher in high school, Mr. Coyle, who's the man. And actually, we hang out now as adults, which is funny.
I love that.
Yeah, it's great. He's actually coming over on Saturday, which is great. Have a couple beers with him. Nice. But he really, like, my love for history exploded with that man. Like, he really just, like, helped me along that path. Like, I really am passionate about history, specifically World War II stuff. So that's good.
That was the friend you bought the graded coin for?
Yes. No. So that's my best friend. So him and I are very much like, we love World War II history. Played World War II games and watched World War II stuff and all that. So it's just something we really, really like. But yeah, I wanted to go to school for, become a history teacher. I took a semester of college. It just wasn't for me. Prior to that, I'd been working at GameStop. So I came back and started working for GameStop again as a store manager for a little bit of time until my first daughter, my only child, came along, and my father sitting down with me and was like, GameStop's not going to cut it anymore, but I was like, I don't think it is, Dad. So he got me into the union, and have been doing that since.
Because your dad was in the military too.
He was in the 2nd Armored Division, Hell on Wheels.
Okay.
So he was in actual regular army. He's been to Germany and did a whole bunch of stuff over there. So he was in the military for a while.
It was Fort Hood, right?
Fort Hood. Yep.
Yeah.
Fort Hood.
That's it. Yeah.
I went to Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay. I was there too.
Homemade infantry. Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah. 82nd Airborne. Yeah.
Oh, you were 82nd Airborne?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm familiar.
Yes.
Hot summers, man. Hot summers.
Hot down there. So hot. And you're getting screamed at the whole time. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna go back.
No, you don't. I remember doing push-ups in like red firing sand hills, and like you can't stop doing it, but they're crawling all over your arms, just biting you, and they're like push. And you're pushing in cadence, because that's what they say. It is push. You just keep going, man. Yeah. So
I remember we woke up one time. We had dug ourselves a hole, and we were hiking. I forget how many miles, and we slept overnight. And we woke up, and there was something there called, I may get this wrong, but it was like cow ants. They were huge.
Oh,
I mean, they were thick.
Not for me.
And I'd never seen them before. They were like red and orange. And they said they would actually eat a cow alive. They just eat this flesh alive. So what are we doing here? Like we need to go.
Yeah, we had to worry about boars. We weren't allowed to go next to a certain kind of woodpecker because it was endangered. And they told you that every time you're out in the field, like, if you see this woodpecker, you just walk away from it. And it was weird. You see boars, walk away from them. Don't fuck with the boars. So like, because people were getting gored and stuff in the woods in Georgia, which is terrible. So
I mean, the problems of Georgia, right?
Yeah, Georgia problems. So yeah, Fort Benning was a hoot.
So then that kind of, your dad had to sit down and says, "Hey, look, buddy, you gotta get in. This isn't gonna work out." So he brought you into the union.
Yes.
That sets you on your journey as an iron worker.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So give us a little bit of that, man, because I know you said you're 4th generation. It's been in the family for a while.
So 4th generation iron worker. Started my apprenticeship in 2010. Graduated. So it was 2010. I did the first 3 years of it. I took a year off from the apprenticeship. Then I came back, finished the apprenticeship. I see SDC is in the chat saying welder. I don't weld personally. I need to get my certifications, but I can weld. So yeah, just, we're going on 14 years now of this and doing this as work, which is crazy to think about. 14 years. Like, I go on the jobs now, and like this job in particular, like, I think was like the first job I went to where I felt very confident in everything I was doing. So it took 14 years to feel that confidence, which is insane. But all the little tips and tricks and everything, like, I'm an older guy now. I'm not old. Like 35 is not old, but you got apprentices that are 20 years old. Yeah. You got 25-year-old or 20-year-old apprentices that don't know anything, and they're looking at you and stuff. So it's some of that, but it's an interesting business. It's definitely tough. It's demanding. Physically and mentally sometimes. I'm not saying it's like the most mentally demanding stuff, but when you're stressed out and you're at height and stuff's coming in hot, it can get hairy sometimes. I've had a couple near misses in my time, specifically on one project. We had a 220,000-pound bridge girder fall off the bridge after we set it.
I remember you did a podcast like a day later, and I remember you mentioned that. Yeah.
It's the Goethals Bridge. It links Elizabeth and Staten Island. We went to set it, and engineers being engineers, someone made this brand new bearing system, and the bearing system failed. We put the girder down, we dogged it off, we went to break. If we didn't go to break, there would have been like 14 bodies around. Because the girder just fell off the bridge and shattered into it because it was precast. And it just, like, we got the call. I was sitting next to my foreman. He goes, "What do you mean the girder fell?" And then we came back. We was like, we got to go. The girder fell. We're like, what? We came back. It was on the group. Couldn't find someone for a while. I was there with my father. He just went somewhere else for break. So it was real stressful.
Wow.
There's some stressful stuff that happens. And again, it was 28 minutes from the time we unhooked it to the time that it fell. And it probably took us 10 minutes to get off the pier. So we were close. It was very close. Yeah. So close calls happen. It's just something that happens. But yeah, it's a tough business, but I enjoy the physicality of it.
It's rewarding though, in that sense.
Yeah, it's definitely rewarding in that sense. It keeps you, limber. I can put my palms on the ground standing up.
Mr. Yoga Man.
Yeah, hey, listen, warrior pose, baby. I love some yoga. I don't do it as much as I should, but
I'm right there with you, man.
That's what I tell people at work. Like, listen, I can put my palms on the ground, and they're like, "No, you can't." You go right down. And you're like, "How are you doing?" I'm 6'4". That's a long stretch. So yeah,
I'm right there with you, man. I joke and I poke, but man, because of my back issues, yoga has saved me from having surgery several times.
So good. It's so good. Hot yoga is an amazing thing. Definitely try that.
I haven't tried that. Hadn't tried that.
And then we did hot yoga with like a sound immersion afterwards. I'll tell you what, I fell asleep. I was drooling on myself. My wife woke me up. I was done. Like, you do some hard yoga and then they just like start like playing singing bowls and stuff. It's awesome. Like,
no, I love
it.
Yeah. Super relaxing. I haven't done the hot yoga though, but I would love to try it. I just don't think we have one close up. And this is one in Charlotte, but I haven't.
Yeah, it was very small. It was a small group, so I can imagine hot yoga is not the best smelling thing sometimes. Yoga in itself, you know what I mean? But it's just like we went to a festival last year. I think I did the hardest yoga set ever. It was just like power yoga, I think is what it was called, and I was spent by the end of it. Absolutely spent. So
that was that one Yoga X. It was like a CD. It was one of those fitness things that came out 4 years ago. I forget what it was. But it was like Yoga X, and it was like an hour and a half, and like you were just dripping, not with a hot sun, but you were dripping. It was very physical. When I first started, I couldn't finish it.
People underestimate the, body strength that you need, and that's why manual, like even at like basic training, everything is manual. Like you're not adding weights; it's body weight, and what you can do with your own body weight is crazy. you can get jacked up body weight wise. Like I went into basic training at 211, which was heavy. And
really? At 6'4"?
6'4", they were not happy. the one guy kept calling me fat and stuff. I was like, all right, here we go. Like, this is gonna be mine. I held my card the wrong way. Like, I held it with my pinky out to the side, and he called me a Neanderthal. So I was like, oh, what did I do here? Like, this is terrible. But this is the first 5 minutes after you got off the bus. Yeah, when I came out of basic training, I was 191, so I lost 20 pounds.
Okay, I was pretty close, man. I was actually doing some bodybuilding right before I went in. I did my first competition, and so I was actually 220 something, but I was very lean, and I thought I was ready. Like I was like, I'm lifting weights every day. Like I'm ready to go. I went in there and got destroyed. Destroyed. Yeah.
I bet the first thing they do is they're like, I want you to see how many push-ups you can do, and you're cranking push-ups out, and they're counting like 3. And they're like, well, you did 3 push-ups. So I was like, well, I just did 40. But no, you did 3 push-ups. And you're like, oh, it's all wrong. I've been lied to.
Yeah. Break you down and build you up. That's what it's all about.
That's it. Beerski
I want to go back to this one here.
It grows meat for the state.
Favorite World War II movie? SDC mentioned that earlier. I missed it.
So I'm going to blow people's mind. Patton.
That was a good movie.
One of the best World War II movies of all time. George C. Scott as Patton is great. I think it's underestimated because it's an older movie, but it's just done so incredibly well.
So watch it.
Definitely put it on. Like the whole thing, it's so campy in some parts. Like they had the big American flag in the beginning, and he's standing and saluting, but then he has like his blood and guts speech, and it's just like, seeing everything. It's just so cool. So Patton's really cool. I also really like George C. Scott. Dr. Strangelove, if no one's ever seen Dr. Strangelove, How He Came to Love the Bomb is like the tagline for it. Awesome movie. He's in that as well. That's Peter Sellers is in that. So he plays a couple characters. If you haven't seen that movie, Dr. Strangelove, everyone needs to put that on their list and go watch it because it is like black satire about nuclear war, and it's pretty good.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's very good.
You got me. Yeah. I put on my Netflix list.
Right on.
Beerski as a history teacher would have been hilarious. Man doesn't learn from the past. He just keeps ripping packs.
So I don't know if you've noticed, Walrus, but my pack ripping shorts have all but come to an end because I've going and looking through my closet. I'm like, this is starting to cost more money than I really feel like ripping through these packs. So kind of
so
stop
the evolution
on that a little
continues.
bit. That might be like a once a week thing, or if I find something cool and special, I'll rip that. But
if your kids are ripping Walrus, you don't have a choice, man. So you might as well rip at the kids. So I got a good excuse, man. I'll stick with it. Got Josh in the house. Good to see you, the Green Shiz, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much. I tried my best to look fabulous tonight.
Always, right? Always. With the locks out. I was hoping we'd get the mom's Pokemon shirt. I was like, I know
it's right.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, it's too hot in this room. I don't know. Like the fan, it's still so hot, and like I said, I'm feeling a little sick. So if I start sweating at any time, like I did last night, there was like a 30-minute period where I was drenched here, and it was terrible.
I'm feeling a sweat right now. I got the AC on, and I'm still sweating, dude.
Yeah, well, you got that North Carolina heat hitting you.
Yeah, it's not pretty either. Not
humid down there yet?
Boys. What's not too bad, but it has been, but not. It's gonna be a lot worse.
Good. Yeah. Well, not good. Not good.
We got Ryan in the house too. Good to see you, Ryan. Spicy Boys is in the house. You got Cardboard.
What's up?
Cardboard Collectibles. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Really appreciate it. Units in here as well. Everybody's stopping by. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
What's going on, everyone? Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to Pokemon. All right, my man. So we're caught up in terms of your work career. You moved in, iron worker, but then you started your Pokemon journey here, buying and selling. So you kind of made you didn't state this exactly, but you made a insinuation that, hey, I might want to do something more fulfilling one day. So what is that?
So this is stuff I've talked with my wife about. As much as I love the business I'm in, and as much as I love doing what I do, sometimes I don't feel fulfilled in my professional career. And I think it's because this probably wasn't what I would have chosen for myself to begin with. Obviously wanting to be a history teacher and then going to become an ironworker out of necessity. Like, you have a daughter, you got to provide for your daughter. So that was always, priority. And having a job and insurance, like everything's good with it. It's hard to leave once you're in because you have such a good foundation and there's good benefits and it's good. Like it's good that way. But I do feel unfulfilled sometimes. So good thing with my business is you get laid off. And you get laid off and you can have stretches of time where you just decide to go back. And you can do other things. So my wife and I have talked about, like, if this becomes something bigger, I could probably do like hybrid work where I work, 3 months on as an iron worker, take 3 months Pokemon, work 6 months as an iron worker and like full-time, certain like part-time during the year. And I think that's something that I would like to aspire to eventually. Like, I don't think I could ever do full-time Pokemon again. Like the benefits and everything that I have are just too good. Like, there's pension and an annuity, vacation checks you get every 3 months. Like it's a good wage. You work hard, but you get compensated well for it. But I it's also terrible for your body doing what I do. When I first went through the apprenticeship, one of the first things they said to us, like, the average iron worker lives only 3 years after retirement. And that's like on the high end. The average is 18 pension checks. So 18 months. So a year and a half is the average for an iron worker after they retire. Which is sad. Like really, really sad. So I don't want to work till I'm, 62 or 67 and a half now for whatever I have to do, and then die by the time I'm 70 or 69. Like, it's just not cut it back, brother. That's body breaking labor. Yeah, man. No, for sure. So like that always sat in my head. like that was one of the things, and I always went back to that like stat that they gave us, like 18 checks. Like that's not, but 18 check. You don't even enjoy retirement in 18 months.
No.
So I don't want that to become me. Like I've always told my wife, I think like 55, the day I turn 55 will be the day before will be the last day I iron work in my life. Like I don't want to be 65 and then die 2 years later. It's just not what I want to do. I want to enjoy life. So it's just trying to figure out a nice balance and then figuring out something later on in life to do. But for now, I'm going to continue to grind, but I would love to do a hybrid Pokemon Ironwork thing for as long as I can pull that off. Yeah. Because
old school Pokemon on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was kind of doing the same thing in the Union, going on his ships, doing all that stuff, and then coming back and grinding his ass off.
Exactly.
Because I can still do it while I'm ironworking, but it would be nice to just know, like, all right, so this is now my job. And it's like right now it's not hobby time, this is job time to like get stuff done. So I think there's, definitely a difference in mindset there too. Like this is work or this is hobby. And like right now I'm kind of settled into the hobby section. Obviously I'm set up as a business. I file taxes as a business and do all that stuff for the perks of that. Do your taxes. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, like I said, I just want something a little more fulfilling, something that I enjoy a little bit more out of life. Because for as good as an ironworker as I think I am, I wish I had more out of life, if that makes sense. Which is kind of depressing to think about at 35, but also gives you a lot of opportunity to continue to grow and look forward to something, and give you something to aspire to. Like I just wish I had almost like if you do the thing you love, you never work a day in your life kind of thing. But like it's hard to hit that.
But what part about being an ironworker was not or is not fulfilling?
So I alluded to it before. I said like it's physically demanding and sometimes mentally demanding. I feel like a lot of the times it's really not mentally demanding. And I think that's kind of where it gets to me a little bit. I like to think, I like to read, I like to take in as much knowledge as I can, and I consider myself like an expert as an ironworker now. I feel really good about what I do. I can do most things. Like I feel good. I can run a job. I can do all that. The next level is working in an office. I don't want to work in the office. I don't want to be that high up and all of that stuff. So I do think that's it. I've said it to my wife. I mean, that's definitely what it is. I don't want to talk bad on it, but you know what I mean? Like it's my bread and butter. It pays my bills, but I just feel like sometimes I wish I can get a little more out of it that way.
Well, and it's an interesting dynamic because you're trying to match the physicality and staying active and not sitting behind a computer desk and pushing papers all day long.
Yeah.
While also finding that fulfillment. So yeah, maybe wiggling yourself here into Pokemon will help scratch that itch a little bit. I hope so.
And I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about a great job either. Like I don't want that to come off. Like I do.
No,
like,
I didn't take it that way.
I'm super happy that I have like a great job and a great career and it's solid. And I've made a name for myself in the business and it's not, and it's my name. Like obviously my father's in and his father was in and his father before him, but like every generation has to kind of make their own name. And I've made my own name. Like I'm definitely my own person there. And everyone knows me for me there, and it's how I like it, and that's just how it is. I resonate more with the old school ironworker crowd. Those are my people. Like I like people. Anyone that's an ironworker that's 40 years and older, I love them. I absolutely love them. They're great. Like the older they are, the better. 55 and up, like they're the salt of the earth ironworkers. They are the best.
Well, and I think it's really interesting too, because when you think about this from the perspective of fulfillment, but also achievement in one's career, there's often that gap. We strive to reach up the ladder, and if it's a corporate case, for example, in your case, maybe it's reaching a level of wealth and knowledge in terms of being able to walk into any situation and kind of know what you need to do. But then when we reach that point, we realize that's not really the fulfillment that we thought it would be. Or we told ourselves it would be when we got there, and then we get there, and it's like, wait a minute, this is not it.
Because I used to be awed by people, like they were just. I remember one time, like I was working with my father on that Gothels Bridge. I actually worked with him there.
That's awesome.
So oxyacetylene torch setups, you can cut metal with them. It's pretty awesome. He I've never seen it. Looked like a plasma torch cut this 2.5-inch steel base plate. The cut was. I was used to be awed by stuff that ironworkers could do, like absolutely awed by it, and now I can do stuff like that, and I'm like, oh man, like this is cool, but it's not as cool as I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those. Like it's a skill set for sure. Like it's definitely a specialized skill set. Like I can go work on any bridge in this country. I can go work on any bridge in the world. Really, like I know what I need to do. You just got to give me prints or tell me what needs to be done, and I can go do it for you. I just need a little more, I guess. I don't know.
Waller says OSP is lazy. Hardworking is a myth.
Is it some behind the scenes knowledge you're dropping there, Walrus?
He's just outsourced it to you, man. Don't be mad.
Oh, that's great.
He's moving into his retirement, buddy. Let me ask you this though, kind of poking at the same kind of thought process for a second though. Do you think you would ever get that same "this was amazing, but now it's mundane" with Pokemon?
It's a possibility. Like I can't rule that out because I'm not there yet. I would hope not. Like I don't want to say it, but I know it happens to people. Like for sure, I know it happens to people. I mean, your last guest alluded to it happening, and him having to like take a step back and do I still enjoy this? Is this something I want to do? I got to switch it up a little bit. Like I said, I don't think full time in this is for me. Like I don't. As much as I would love to go full time and like it's such a great idea and I think full time wouldn't be what is. I think I really do. I like the part about ironworking I love the most is being able to bounce around from job to job, and you're not stuck in one. You're not change of scenes. You're not stuck in one spot. You might get laid off. Take a little bit, relax, like figure some stuff out. So like if it's interchangeable where I can do a little bit of both, I think that's probably the perfect scenario for me. Bouncing around is definitely nice. My wife says it all the time. Like that's perfect for you because I get bored easily at places for a long time. Like if I'm there for a long time, it becomes mundane and monotonous and the same thing over. And it's like playing video games for me now. Like I love playing video games, but after a little bit, you're like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again every time I sit down here now. So it's not really different. I'm not really gaining anything out of this. So, you know, I'm sorry. I just saw Walrus comment. It happens, but comparing an actual job to this wins every time. No commute, no cold. Using your own bathroom is underappreciated. Yeah, like, and believe me, what you're doing it benefits you fully. Like it benefits you, like a full-time Pokemon person. Everything you're doing is benefiting you and your family, and that's awesome. Yep. But I'm going to work and I'm benefiting companies and this person and this money guy, and you know what I mean. So it's just. Again, and I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I have a great job. People want to die to have this job. Like people try so hard to get into the unions and so hard. And I guess I've just become a little jaded to the whole situation. But you know, it's something that I work through. Got to pay the bills. Got to go to work every day. So again, I would like to. I think the hybrid scene is where I'm going to be kind of lingering in. Next. The Nick old school Pokemon scene that would keep me probably engaged. And if I felt like I was starting to like fall off in one section or one aspect, like Ironworker, I would just switch over and go to the other one and full time that, and then small time the other. You know what I mean?
You could even hire Walrus to do all the heavy lifting.
That's perfect. Yeah, I might just have him. You know, I don't know if I can pay as well as Nick, but. I'll give you hugs, Walrus, every day.
That's right. Give you shirtless hugs.
Shirtless hugs. I'll send you feet pictures.
Easy payment, man. Easy payment.
Oh, man.
And this is also a good little segue into some of the conversations you were having with Spicy Boys around the evolution of your collecting and the hobby, because you had built a little bit of a collection. You obviously had your childhood collection, but I think you sold it, most of it, around Collecticon, and you kind of had to start over, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember that conversation with Ernie. He actually came on. That was episode 3. I didn't have a guest. He texted me.
He showed up.
It must have been like 10 to 15 minutes before. He's like, "You got a guest?" I was like, "No." He's like, "I can hop on." I never talked to him before.
It was a good conversation.
I didn't really know what he looked like. I was like, he hopped on. We had a great time. And I remember he said something to me, and it made me take a step back and think like, okay, he's right. And I think it was a comment, something like, just like, and he said like, no offense, but it seems like you're still trying to figure out your and like what you want to do. And he was right. Like I'm still now trying to figure it out. I definitely have a better grip on everything. Starting to grade, bigger and better cards and do all of that, right stuff. I'm doing stuff that didn't work out, and I'm figuring out that I can't do certain things. I just don't have the cash flow for it. I don't want to get caught pinched up at anything. Excuse me. So yeah, that was a great conversation with Ernie. I really did enjoy that. But yeah, collecting after I sold everything at Collecticon, like I had no graded cards, I had no sealed, I was empty, but I had a fat stack of cash, so I just kind of went back at it again. I paid for the trip with what I did, and it was just awesome, like the whole experience. So I've been building back up since then. Let my eBay take off. Well, I finally just hit 200 feedback on eBay, which is awesome.
Congrats.
Still 100%. Feedback rating. So I feel good about that. I try my best to make sure all that's right. Like I put pride into those little things. I'm pretty detail oriented when it comes to that stuff. Same at work. I'm pretty anal with stuff I do at work. If it means something and I got to put my name to it, I want it to be the best that it could be. Like I don't want someone to go back, especially at work. So there's nothing worse than when you're bolting up a point and you come to a point and they have 3 of the 4 done because the 4th one's a mess. And now you got to do it. Like you never want to do that, but it happens all. You don't want to be that guy. So like I have pride. Who did this? Yeah, I try to pride myself. Like I try and do everything the way that I would want to go and see it done.
Yeah.
So
I like that. It's a good ethic and moral to live by and to move through. And by the way, just for everybody out there, if you got 100% feedback, you're not pushing the boundary hard enough.
I got 3 neutrals because the guy gave me the wrong address and it shipped to wherever, and then he gave me neutrals. So I was like, dude, you gave me the wrong
address. It's your fault.
What are we even doing? And then he apologized, take them down, and then never took them down.
Well, you can call eBay for that kind of stuff.
That's all right. They'll drop off soon.
Yeah. eBay will take care of that. All right. So, but you didn't really get back into collecting. You don't have anything for you. You're still just sitting back, running the business side and letting that kind of naturally evolve, perhaps, what I'm hearing.
So all of my PC stuff is all gifts and stuff like that now. I think that's the most awesome way to PC. I'm going to jump on that bandwagon with people. Like I like that. It's stuff I won't sell. Cards I get from people, like I'll keep those forever. Those I'll always keep. I feel like I need, and this is like brought up on a lot of podcasts and everything, like the need for having money to continue to like build your flipping and then having stuff that's appreciating. Like I have all those gold Crown Zenith cards, the God Pokemon. I have all the They're going through the roof right now. They're going up in price, just like all the all arts. I would love to keep them. Definitely can't keep them now. Like, gotta sell. So, like, everything that I want to keep them, like, I can sell this and make money back and keep pushing. So, like, and it's some of that, and it's some of building the Beerski Collects brand on eBay where people will go back to you and buy your stuff and doing that. But if I were to get into collecting, it would be E-Series. I want to master all those sets.
Such beautiful cards, man.
Yeah, I love them. I mean, shout out Box Nostalgia Podcast. We did a tier list ranking on that.
Go for it.
Shameless plug.
Links below in the description.
We did a tier listing of that, and that was, it's just fun seeing all the cards. Like, and I'm still, and again, it's all about learning for me. So doing that kind of stuff and seeing what's in each set, like, I don't know so many sets. Like, I'm not a PK. The man can think of what card is
every number.
It's insane. Like, I don't have that in me. So I would like to collect, but I feel like the money is better used elsewhere. Like, I have sealed stuff that I wish I didn't have right now. Like, that's some of my big, like, it's just sitting there not doing anything for me. It might be appreciating a little bit, but
not enough.
It's not enough, and I need the cash flow. So as that stuff. Beerski has another podcast. He's like 7. Thanks. Buyer never received. Deserve the neutral. I did my. It said delivered. It said delivered. Walrus.
And he gave the wrong address.
Yeah,
he gave
I did nothing wrong there.
Yeah. Another that's crazy. Love it.
Garen M. That's the sad part. If you want to make money here, you have to push. And if you're pushing, your collector vibes start to fade. And it's true, because I wanted to collect all the band cards. I had a lot of those and CGC9s. I was kind of going for that. But I ended up selling all those. I wanted all the Scream promos. I had a couple of those, sold them. Just stuff goes up. And when stuff starts, it's just... I value that greenback a little bit more on what I can do, because my favorite part of this is buying, pre-grading, and sending them out and grading cards. Like that's my favorite, like, collector boy or flipper thing about the hobby, other than the podcast. Like that's my next favorite thing is that. So not being able to do that kind of stinks a little bit. So like that's trying to keep that rolling, because I love getting the cards raw. I love pre-grading all the stuff. I love doing all that. It's like my favorite part, other than podcasts.
All right, so you got your soldiers to work, as Ernie said it. So put your dollars and soldiers to work.
That's it. Got to put them to work, man.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so there is one story though that going back to the collector side of you, and we'll actually touch on this from the perspective. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I may mix this up. But was it your dad that was coming home on a rainy day and playing Mario and like? A few
Punch
other
Out.
games. Yeah, Punch Out. Yeah. So you were watching him play, right?
Yeah.
And
I was young.
Did he invite you to play?
I would sit next to him and watch him play.
Okay.
Because it was like Mario. So yeah, I would play sometimes with him.
Okay.
But it was like sit next to him and like watch him play. Because he would come home from rain out some work, and just would what he would do. And then obviously that got me hooked on playing games, and them taking the games away and me climbing up on my little play school lunch table and cutting a hole in the bag and playing in the middle of the night, getting caught, like stuff like that. I pulled the TV out on me one time. So, and those are these big, heavy tube TVs. I remember 5, and I was trying to plug the Nintendo in because they had taken it away and tucked it up. Then I got it back, and I just pulled the whole TV right out on top of me. So my mom comes out, the TV's laying on my head and chest. And I'm laying on the ground, arms and legs.
Are you still playing?
There was no playing time. I was just like, I was pinned to the ground. And she comes out of the room. She heard the ruckus and just like screamed and came and like Mom hulked this TV off of me. So
150-pound TV. She just threw it off like it was 5 pounds.
Glass, it's like 4 inches thick. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's lots of crazy stuff like that when I was a kid.
It's funny. I'll share one on my side as well. My son recently, so we got our Switch for the first time. I mentioned it a few times. So we got that for last Christmas, and it was a family Switch. And he liked it so much because we started playing Smash Bros. Was the first game we started playing on the Switch, and of course we all loved it and unlocking all the characters. It was just so much fun. Then we started playing Legends of Arceus.
Great game.
So now he's got the itch, right? He's got the itch, like he's going to sleep. He's dreaming about it. He's waking up. He's like, Dad, I unlocked a new world in my dream.
The video game dreams are intense. That's an intense dream. If you're having the video game dreams, I know all about that.
That's the first thing he said. He sat up real quick this morning. He said, Dad, I unlocked a new world, a whole new region. I'm like, all right, buddy. We can try to see if that exists when we get to the weekend. But he, speaking of sneaking, we were doing something. We were upstairs, and he said, well, Dad, I'll go get your water for you. I said, okay, Papa. So he went. I was like, how nice of him to go get my water for me. And so I noticed, and I was with a little one, and he was gone for like 15, 20 minutes. Ethan, where are you, bud? I'm downstairs. And so I kind of quietly walked downstairs. And it was one of those moments when the kids like jump back to the place where you think they should be, but knowing that's not where they were. And he's like, oh, I was just getting your water. Dad. I said, yeah, but you've been like 15 minutes. Like, what were you doing? Oh, nothing. And I start looking around the room. Like, I know he did something. Like, what happened here? And I look, and I noticed that the Switch is not in the dock. I said, and I look on the couch, and then the Switch is still on, sitting on the couch. I said, son, were you playing the Switch? No. Okay. I see how this is going to go. Yeah. The whole sneaking, we used to do it at nighttime. For me, it was a Nintendo.
Yeah.
And as you know, there was no saves. It was like you go all the way or nothing.
Yep.
And so we would leave it on at night, and I'd stay at my friend's house because I didn't have one. And it was school nights, and we would stay up with the TV on, to your point, tube TV, and the light would be shining. His dad would come in there angry. You hear him stomping through the house. Doom, 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 doom. We had to turn off the TV, leave the Nintendo on, obviously.
Yeah.
And he'd come in there and say, I know you boys are awake. You better stop playing. And we wouldn't say a word. We would pretend like we were sleeping, even fake snoring and everything. He'd leave. You better be quiet. Go to bed. He'd leave, wait until he got to the other room, hear the door close, turn the TV back on, and keep playing.
Keep playing. My father caught me one time. I was playing. I still had my Game Gear, and I was playing a Jurassic Park.
That was my
game.
First handheld.
Yeah, too. And I was playing Jurassic Park, and I was like underneath my sheets in my room with it low, and he opened the door and just looked at me, and he went, "Don't tell your mother." And he shut the door. And I was like, "All right, this is cool. I'll keep playing. This is great."
Yeah. Of course, it felt terrible the next morning, but yeah.
Every kid's a little sneak. You got to test those boundaries.
Good stuff, man. But there was one moment where your dad started playing Resident Evil.
Ooh.
And like he looked over at you and he said something like, "You okay?" So you're like, "No."
Yeah, he said I was pale. So it was Resident Evil 2. We were at my so in the town we lived in, the house directly behind us and the house directly behind us and to the left were two of my father's good friends while I was growing up. So we would go over there frequently and hang out. And the one guy had gaming PCs, and I played Unreal Tournament on that.
That was so much fun.
Unreal
I
Tournament was great. So good. The map where it's just two big like towers on either side, I would just snipe
away
for hours. Had the best time. But he had all the video game systems and everything, and it was Resident Evil 2. And there's a scene where like you're going to a gun shop and the zombies just break through this wall and they start chewing this guy up. And the graphics now looking back, like I wouldn't be like whatever, but then it was terrifying. I remember walking home from that house and like looking under the porch and looking in the corners of the yard, waiting for zombies to come out at me. Like your mind as a kid is so crazy. So but I was terrified. I could not. Those games, I couldn't do it. Like scary games, I'm still a big baby when it comes to scary. I won't watch a horror movie at all. Not for me.
Well, I just saw how big and bug-eyed your eyes got when you started.
It's not
under the porch, man.
Dude, scary stuff. Like zombies were real to me when I was a kid. I did not want to get eaten by them.
Yeah, it was funny. We I would keep derailing here, but it's funny okay. Correlations. Zombie by what's
the Cranberries.
Yeah, Cranberries. So we all liked it in the beginning. So we have like a playlist. It's mostly like old 80s, 90s, 70s, all kinds of fun stuff. And the kids really, made their own playlist. So it was on there. Well, as the kids got older, they started paying attention to the words. Like, Dad, are zombies real? Like, no, not really. And of course, Dad has to add some nuance to that, right? So, well, what she's talking about is people not thinking for themselves. That's what she's talking about. But so I started explaining that. He goes, "So they are real?" I'm like, "Okay, never mind. No, they're not real. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah. It's over. It's done. We won't listen to that one anymore." Good stuff. Man.
My wife's good friend from college. Her brother's a cop in Fort Lee, New Jersey. They had, I guess, a domestic dispute they had to go to. Well, it was the lead singer of the Cranberries and her husband. And I guess she had one too many drinks and was like wigging out in the house. So the cops come up and she goes, "You know who I am." And I guess drunkenly starts belting out Zombie to the cops. So, how great is that? Like, it's the best.
He gets out his phone. He's like, "Okay, go ahead.
All right, just keep singing. This is great." The things you see in New Jersey.
I love it. Stories all connect. As you said, it's a small world, man. Small world.
6 degrees separation of Kevin Bacon. We all know him by 6 degrees. I love it.
Ryan, I appreciate you sharing all the links. For all the channels here, we have a lot of people who have their own YouTube. So Ryan's always out there helping us support the other channels. So make sure you check them out. We got Ray in the house. Good to see you, Ray. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Always good to see you.
Look at Professor Birch calling Ponga out right now. See, Ray shows up for Beerski. Where Ponga? Not here. What's up, Ponga? You had enough of me last night?
He texted me. He says, "I know you guys are just gonna bash me. I'm not even getting on here." Yeah, so yeah, I don't, man. I got a whole section just for bashing Ponga. So don't show up, man. You won't like it.
Ray goes typical.
He can blame it on his internet this time, right?
Oh man, I felt so bad for him last night with that. That was so bad.
He was struggling, man. He was struggling. You could see it in his face. He was upset, dude.
That's when I started sweating profusely. I was like, "Uh oh."
First live
about to crash into the mountain. This isn't good.
Pull back.
Thank Ray for being there. He's like, we got this. Because I was like, I'm gonna hit this end button right now and figure this out real quick.
Fingers over the button right now.
Oh man.
No, Ray's a great guy, man. Yeah, good definitely. Positivity too, man. Love to see Ray.
He's a section leader for Orlando. Yeah. Very
nice. About that. Nice. Yeah, should be. All right, buddy. Well, move on, but actually move back, really, in a sense. I want to hear more about the business and kind of what you've done with it so far. So where have you navigated this whole Pokemon business? You said you set up your business, you file your taxes like a good little citizen. But what are you really focusing on? Is this just the grading, kind of going to Collecticons? At some point, you even mentioned you want to focus more on Collecticons than you do online stores.
Yeah. So as much as I love eBay and as much as I love that, it's very impersonal. And I never considered myself a big extrovert. I felt more introverted most of my life. Played a lot of games, but if I get around a crowd and stuff, I will. Oh, there's Ponga.
There he is.
What's up, you cute son of a bitch, you?
Good to see you.
Good seeing you, man. Now I lost my train of thought. What am I doing?
Extrovert, yeah,
extrovert. So, no, I lost my complete train of thought there. I'm so sorry, Wonder.
It was going about why you want to go to shows where eBay is personal.
So I consider myself more of like an introvert growing up, except when I get out in like a crowd of people, I definitely let loose and come out of my shell, which is good.
I'm the same.
But I was at that show a couple weeks ago and I felt like a peacock with my feathers out strutting around that place. Like it feels so good to like that, like it feels so right. Like I love like hanging out. I love talking and chatting with the people. Like I was even chatting with parents with kids that came up that like I had a stack of card savers on the table and he came up. I was like, can I have one of those? I gave the kid like 5 of them for his cards. He was so jazzed up. Parents were super thankful. He started showing me cards. I was talking to him. I was talking to the other vendors around me. So like something like that, it really makes me want to focus more on, live shows, in-person events like that. As much as I love eBay and as much as I've been building it up and getting, all of that going with the feedback and, I think I have over 450 sales now, which isn't a crazy amount, but for me, for what I put into it, like it definitely is, an important part, man. But it's definitely an important part for me, but I do love the in-person stuff so much more. Like I enjoy the in-person stuff way more. So I want to focus a little bit more on Collecticons and, local, events where I can sell in local vending events. It's just nice. The trades are there. Like you can't trade on eBay. You can't I made my first trade ever a couple weeks ago at this show.
What was it?
So, oh man. So let's see.
Ryan, I see your question there, but we'll have that on topics for here in just a few minutes.
So I traded for these.
Oh, nice. I like the Deoxys.
Yeah, the Deoxys is sweet. Reverse hollow. I traded for those. I purchased a sealed ass Stitch card from him. We traded a couple other things. So there was a couple trades. Felt really good trading a few things out. So just like that was another part of the hobby that I've never really touched and been a part of. So I started, dabbling in that a little bit. I just like the in-person stuff, man. I don't know. That Collecticon really opened my eyes to a whole bunch of stuff like that. It really
does it feel hectic to you at all? The pace of things? I guess it depends on which one you're at.
So The first Collecticon, that was the first time I ever vended. I've never vended before in my life. Obviously, I did retail with GameStop and stuff, but vending is a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
And I got plied up the night before pretty good. So I was in really bad shape Saturday. Like really, like I didn't even go out for the trade night. I had Walrus texting me going, can you ask Beerski if the Charles Martinet is in the Super Mario Brothers movie? Thanks, Ray. I appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming in here and throwing it at me. So yeah, I was sweating to death. So it was a little hectic that day. But I had some buyouts and stuff. The second time I vended was way less hectic. I felt more calm. I'm definitely not a lightweight, homie. Those were triple IPAs that I had been drinking for a long time. That's the first time I met that day was Friday. I met Ponga for the first time, the Green Shiz, Ray for the first time, a bunch of other people. And I started at lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings and it just kept going. And then we went, and it was triple IPAs. Dan had his card. I was like, just get whatever you want. And they were going down like water because I was having such a good time. And then I woke up the next morning and my head felt like it was going to fucking explode. It was so, I'm sorry I cursed on your channel. I didn't mean it.
No worries. You meant it. You meant it. That's okay.
I meant it. But I felt like my head was going to burst. So yeah, that was a little stressful and stuff. But this is much more... it's much more my speed. I like being right. I told my wife I felt like I was in my element, like just being out and being in, doing that and talking and with people. It's great.
Do you find yourself having a hard time to manage inventory between the two, eBay and lives? I know or not live events, I should say.
I think if I start doing more in-person events, I will have that problem. Because last year I went to Collecticon and I sold all my stuff and I had nothing to come back to. So I had to kind of build up from nothing and start rolling that way. It's nice when you have eBay and you slowly trickle sales and then you can start buying cards and send them out. But yeah, I guess so Thrifty talked about this on Pokey Flips, saying it's hard to you sell out of all your inventory and then you got a quick reload again in 2 weeks for your next show. I guess that might be something that's going to happen with me eventually, where I'm going to have to do something like that. But I would like to have enough inventory eventually to where that's not going to be an issue anymore. I'm sorry, I keep reading these chat. I got to close the chat because I keep reading it. I keep laughing. I need a sweatband. Beerski would totally pull up a sweatband with that hair. What am I look like a tennis player? I can't.
Oh, that's hilarious. It's good stuff.
Con sweatband. Do I wash it ever, or I just let that bad boy roll? My God,
it's gonna be like Jason Page's jacket. Just never wash it, man. Never wash it. Let it roll.
Wash jeans walk themselves to them. He just steps into them.
They do all the dancing for him.
Yep. That's great.
I love it. So going back to your inventory, I'll throw out another. Shout out here to I see Pete that Chew jumped in. Good to see you, Pete. Yeah, if you're ever looking for inventory quick, anybody, you head into your next Collecticon, hit up Pete. He's got your graded cards ready to go on discount.
Yeah, he definitely does, man.
Yeah, he'll get you filled back up quickly.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, at least if you need something to fill in some holes, that's for sure. Yeah, that'll help you out. You made a statement one time, Beerski, and it was, scary money doesn't make money. And you have 1,000 one-liners, which I love. You pull from all your movies, you just pull them out, and they're so good.
Yeah.
How do you use that though? Because I'm sure you've thought about that quite a lot, and at least in a subconscious way. How do you apply that to your business?
So this is I've just recently started, making. I was afraid to lose money in the worst way when I started in this hobby. I was afraid to make a dumb play. I think that all spanned from I got in the hobby and then I got back into it and started really getting deep into it right around when Charizard UPCs came out. I bought 3 of them. Again, I was on the PokeTube and listening to people. Everyone was quoting Celebrations UBC prices. I was like, this is a lock. Like people are like, first to market on these cards. I opened up the set and checked all the promo cards, and they were trash. Everyone was dinged up. It wasn't good. And I was like, and there's $300 something gone, poof. And I was like, what am I doing here? I was like, and it was just like such a kick in the pants. And I was like, what's going, like, I can't, this is terrible. So that like kind of made me, that like checked me for a while. And I was like, all right, like, I don't want to lose money here. And then that was like to my detriment for a while, where I wasn't doing anything risky. I wasn't making plays. I was afraid to make plays. Like I completely stayed away from the Unaga, evolutions because of it. Like I was just like, I don't want to get caught up in all of this. And then, I don't know what it was. Again, Collecticon. I started seeing what people were doing, what people had in their cases, what people were buying, and I was like, all right, you got to start like doing something here. You got to start like pushing forward a little bit. So I've been less scared with my money. I've been making more, and I think also I'm going to say Walrus pushing me to keep buying those promos, the Van Gogh Pikachu promos, and because I got my one. I was like, that's the one I'm going to get. Like, I'm cool with that. And he messaged right in the Discord and was like, you keep getting them till you can't get them anymore. Worst case is you sell them for break even. And I was like, okay. And then one pristine, I made over like $1,000 on that deal. Like all because Walrus was like, just do it. And like, so now like you steal Nike's one-liner, like just do it. Like that's what it is. Like essentially just, if you feel like it's going to be right. And the amount of things I've missed out on by not following like my gut feel on something. And I'm just like, damn it. And like I missed out on that one. I missed out on this one. So I also think it was just like a lack of knowledge in the hobby and the hobby cycles. Like I've never been through a full block before. So now I'm seeing how similar
transition.
Yeah. I'm seeing how similar like the first couple sets of Sword and Shield were, and how people were knocking them, and now how people are knocking the first. And it kind of felt like that was like the same way for Sun and Moon too. People were saying those first couple sets were trash. So I kind of feel like there's like an ebb and flow. You just, once you kind of figure out the cycle, you can start just like any market, like you figure it out. And not like you can figure it out, but it's just knowing more and applying it. It's essentially what it is. So I'm just trying to figure that out and not have scared money anymore.
Right. A little bit more and more risk as you go through it.
Yeah, that's it. Like I don't, you don't want to be in a hobby where you have no money for the hobby because or you have no money for the hobby, or you don't have anything because you're too afraid to put anything into it. So
neither one's good.
Neither one's good.
Yeah. Walrus says, don't fall for the I need inventory trap. Selling out of everything. That's what we're all working towards.
That's it, Walrus. I'm all about it. Like believe me, I want to sell everything I bring to Collecticon. I don't want to come home with any graded cards. The binders I bring, I want to be empty, or they just buy the binder. Take it. I go buy a new binder.
Dan jumped in there. Good to see you, Dan. Dan Zard. Thanks for stopping by.
What's up, Danny Zard?
I enjoyed that chat you had with Beerski, man. It was really good. Really good.
Thank you.
It's good to see your face too, man. We'll catch up tomorrow. I know you and we have a pending conversation, man. So we'll catch up tomorrow, buddy. Appreciate your patience on that one. What are you focusing on next, man? Slabs, singles? What are you working towards? Sealed?
So I was dabbling in sealed a little bit. I don't think sealed's my thing. Like I said, stagnant money sitting in a closet. Like I don't have pokey pallets. I don't have like Ponga's a monster when it comes to sealed product. Array's a monster when it comes to sealed product. Retrospecs, like all those guys, like, and that's awesome. Like people love sealed. It's just not for me. I like the cards. I like handling the cards. Again, pre-grading. So like I'm more into slabs. I think I'm still going to continue to be in slabs. But I have been dabbling in binders and singles. I have quite a few singles up on my eBay. I've been buying master sets of stuff and sending the gradable hits out. And then, I'm going to be selling, like I have the Hidden Fates master set that I kind of picked apart. Baby shinies really aren't worth sending at their prices now for what grading is. So it's going to put them out, put prices on them and watch them go and just recoup money that way. And just continue that rolling cycle of doing that. Like I really like buying the master sets. Like I feel like that might be what I do going forward. I think I've said that before too. Like I like purchasing the master sets, having them for a little bit, looking at them, and then vulturing them and just breaking them down and sending stuff out. Like it's my favorite part, like picking them out. Like, yes, like this one's gradable.
This is a good one. Yeah.
Like I picked that, it was the Hidden Fates master set, and the cards are so minty. And the guy was just like, and that's what I picked up. That was my big purchase at the that last local show. He pulled it out last minute and was like, I've had this the whole day. I've been looking for the right person to buy this. You're going to Orlando. Here's the price. You'll do well. I opened it up, checked the Charizard first, off-centered, but I checked the back. The back was perfect. And then I checked like 3 more cards in the shiny vault, and they were perfect. And I was like, we've got a deal. Like, let's do this. And I got those cards out of PSA right now. They arrived 3 days ago. And I'm going to bring in a bunch of Hidden Fate singles down to Collecticon and I clean up on them. So I feel good about that. So I really want to focus on that, like binder collections, and start going through. And again, it's just learning the sets and learning more cards and stuff and just adding to the knowledge base, because I started from essentially nowhere when it came to knowledge and Pokemon cards. And so just building up the foundation and trying to, put the columns in, back to ironwork in, and put the cross members in and all that stuff. So
weld it down, man. Weld it down.
That's it.
What does better for you in the Collecticons or local shows? Is it going to be your graded cards, your binders? I know Ray was talking really heavily on binders just a year ago.
So binders did really well at the local show that I just recently went to. People were buying a lot of stuff out of the binders. I think the binders draw people to your table more than the sealed, like the cases do. Like the slabs and in the case, like they see a binder, they get to flip through that. I think it's just something about flipping through it. Just kind of part of the
enjoyable.
It's enjoyable. Pull the card out, check it, kind of look at it. Yeah, pull it out of the sleeve, do whatever you got to do. Slab is kind of like you're looking at it behind a piece of glass. But I had buyouts at the last Collecticon. I don't know if I'll be doing buyouts this time for the stuff. And if I did, I'd be much more selective on what I let go for the buyout. Because they come through and they buy your case out. But you have a really banger card in there, and they're going to expect that card too. So I think that'll be like a caveat. Like, you can buy everything out but these. And I'll hold back some things. But I also think it's just dependent on where you are in the show. Because I know that PK said at the Charlotte Collecticon, he cleaned up with slabs. And I was having a hard time moving them. Me and Mertz were sitting there like, what did we do wrong here? Like, what's up? Like, what's going on? No one's buying.
So many factors, man.
But there's and that's it. Like, it all just depends on where you are, who's got the money at the time. So it's luck and all that stuff.
Insert Dan's voice here, and that's why eBay just eyeballs all the time.
Yep.
24 hours a day, man. You got one from Peak. Let you start it off. Now, how much total do you think you spent in the past year, and how would you have reacted on that 5 years ago to that number?
Oh man, I spent like $16,000 last year in Pokemon. Which isn't a crazy amount. For me, it's a crazy amount.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's a lot of money in Pokemon. But again, like, it's solvent. Like, I'm not drowning in anything. I feel good about it. It's everything that's coming in is going back out, vice versa. So I feel pretty good about what's going on. With all of that, let me see.
What would you have thought? Yeah, about that number 5 years ago.
5 years ago, I'd be like, "What are you doing? what? Like, you spent how much on
could have bought the best TV and the best game system for that much?
For real? Like, we just spent $12,000 on a furnace. Like, so you think about that, but it's just funny. Like, you sell a lot, and then you're like going back and you're looking how much you sold. And you're like, wow, I sold that much, and that allowed me to buy this much. So like, it's just the turn and burn of everything. So I know 16K to some people in this chat right now is not a lot at all. But for me, like, that was my first real year of like digging in and trying to like get into like the hobby hard. To spend that much money was almost amazing to me at the end of the year. Like, when I did my taxes this year, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I mean, it was great there was a lot of end of the year purchases, cash accrual or cash system or cash basis. I'm sorry. Dan's throwing up in his mouth right now. I'm messing it all up. But, so it's nice. It's just nice. I enjoy it so much. And that knowing that you can spend that much and still be cool and solvent and keep pushing it and keep moving is awesome. It's just like a train that keeps rolling. So,
I'm pretty much the same in terms of moving through. Last year, I if I look at it more from a 12-month from year to date perspective, it's going to be probably 6 figures. But if I look at just last year, it's, about the same as you, maybe 20, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's really ramped up. And to your point, you look at that and you really wonder, you're like, wow, is this right? But then you look at the in and the out, at the bottom line, he's like, well, it's looking good on the math side. So
yeah, if the math is right, the math is right.
Right. But to be fair, that number also includes, especially the larger number, it includes a lot of expenses, everything I do for the business. So I'd have to break it down by category, but we want to expense as much as you legally can to make sure
yeah,
and
so
lower
yeah,
your
let
taxable
me put
income.
that caveat too. It was definitely other expenses other than just actual like cards and stuff, but it's all part of it.
Right. It all helps the machine move. Card
And I've
savers,
spent way less this year so far, but I feel like after Collecticon and that, because like the Collecticon just like grips you. You're like, oh, look at what everyone has. Like, we need to get it going. So I feel like after Collecticon, I'm just gonna go, because then 2 months after that, it's Jersey Collecticon. 3 months after that, I'll be in Chicago. So I'm very excited.
You're moving. Okay, man. And keep the inventory flowing, bud.
That's it.
See, Basic jumped in the house. Good to see you, Basic, man. Appreciate you stopping by, bud.
What's up, Basic?
All right, man. We touched on actually a little bit already on the confidence side, and we've spoken to how you've built your confidence along the way, but I know that was something you were really concerned about in the beginning. But definitely, I think the Collecticons kind of helped you get past that, building the friendships, and obviously all the great help and support we get in the hobby really accelerated that. And of course, we just keep churning through it. Yeah, all that stuff kind of goes away after a little while. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have any big lessons lost or learned, I should say, that you would like to share?
Big lessons in Pokemon. Trust your gut, I think, is one. If you think something's going to be good, don't listen to other people about what they say about stuff, because how many things, and I was talking about this last night with Ray and Ponga, how many things were you told as a bad play ended up being a great play, and are still great plays? Like Van Gogh Pikachu's still a great play, still making money off of it. People are like, don't touch it. Like, even now, people are like, don't. But the money's still there to be made if you're willing to go for it. So I feel like, just follow your gut. Don't be scared. Like, again, that's the scared money doesn't make any money. And just have fun, man. Like, it's all about the fun, like all the money and stuff and all that aside. But like, in terms of like big lessons for people, I don't even know if I'm the one that should be giving anyone lessons on any of this. I'm still learning myself. So
that's the point, man.
Yeah, just those things. Just have fun with it. Trust your gut, and don't be afraid to take the leap. And that's take the leap with Pokemon and taking the leap with talking to people. Because I'll say it, and many people say it, and I say it, I think, far too much. People are probably tired of hearing me say it, but the community, and I know it's the evil C word, but the people in the hobby are, I don't think it's an evil C word either. Like, I love the fact that it's community. It's the best part about all of this. It's what keeps me going. I love having these conversations, whether it's with you or Ponga or any of my guests on my podcast. Excuse me. That's really, I feel more rich in that than I'll ever feel with money in my pocket from the hobby. That's worth so much more to me than anything else. If all the money went away, I would still have friends to talk to about the hobby, and that's the best part.
Definitely. And that's actually perfect, because one of the things that, we both realized as we went through this is, starting the podcast, starting our channels, whatnot here on YouTube, reaching out to different people in the hobby, Discords, you name it. So many people are just willing to step out to help you, share their time. I haven't really met anybody that says, you know what, no, I can't talk to you. I don't have time for your stupid questions. Like, everybody's willing to help. Everybody's willing to step out of their own element and take a little bit of time out of your day, much like yourself here. So yeah, fully agree. So we'll move it over here to your podcast, because you started your podcast and you got pushed a little bit by PK on your first little entrance there with him, face reveal, I believe. And he made a statement there. He says, you should make your own channel. You should have your own channel. How did it actually birth into a podcast? What was the actual story behind, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast in Pokemon.
So it all happened so fast. Like I don't even know if I thought about it all that much. Like I was just so excited to be like, because I watched all PK stuff, and he's like, "You want to come on?" I was like, "Absolutely!" I was like, he texted me, and I was like, "What's going on here?" Like,
this is
like,
awesome.
"Yes, I will." This is awesome. Like, I will 100% come on your podcast and talk to you about this stuff. I don't know if I can hold a candle to what you know, but we'll have a conversation. He made the conversation so easy to have, and it flowed so. And so we talked about this a little bit earlier before we started this. How do you feel before a podcast?
Yeah.
When I said to you, I feel like throwing up in my mouth sometimes. Well, that night I 100% wanted to throw up in my mouth. I was so nervous. So did all that. I bought the microphone, the camera for it. Like I got all jazzed up about it. I went out, I did all that stuff. I sent him pictures because I got on a Rattle Discord chat, and I just had like my wife's old MacBook with the MacBook camera. It looked terrible in here. Everything was grainy and awful. And he made a comment. He's like, "You need to upgrade before you come on." So I upgraded.
Whoops.
I went up, I upgraded, I got new camera, new mic, did all that stuff. And then when I got off, I was like, I really enjoyed that. And, I know some people in the hobby. I have the equipment. Let's give this a shot. So enter Mr. Walrus. I
was like, who was the guy on your shoulder? I knew it had to be somebody there.
Well, so Mr. Walrus is the first one I texted to come on. He said yes. But like before that, I was sitting around thinking of names for podcasts and stuff. I was going to do like Happy Hour with Beerski, but I felt like that was just so bland. Like Happy Hour with Beerski. Like so many people at Happy Hour, like the Rattle Discord Happy Hour. It's like, oh, I'm going to steal that. I can't steal that from them. And then like my best friend used to say all the time when we were younger, like before we would go out, like it's Beer O'Clock. And then like that just stuck. And I was like, all right, once I had the name down, I knew like I can do this. Like the name is down. So then I got a Canva account. Like this is all. I was a foreman with another company. There's a lot of downtime. So I'm sitting in my work truck, like learning how to use Canva to make thumbnails for YouTube videos. I made one video prior to even being on PK's.
That short
about the Oak Nagaba thing. The one-on-one Oak Nagaba card.
I love that.
That was fun to make. Like that was the first time I played around with YouTube. No face reveal or anything. Just trying to have a little bit of fun with it. But once that name came out, I was like, all right, this is something I can do. Started going through it. And then I was like, who can I talk to? Like Walrus was so nice to me when we were in Charlotte. I remember walking that first night with the whole group of people. And there's heavy hitters in there. It was Charlie and Zach and Dan and PK and Jake Pokenomics. Radar was there. And I knew all of them. They didn't know who the hell I was. And Walrus walked with me the whole way there. Like he, knows everyone, but he talked and, made it a point to talk to me the whole way there. I was so nervous. So I was like, Walrus would be the perfect person to come on the first show. And he agreed right away. And he agreed to like a date sooner than I thought he would agree to. And then it just kind of happened. I was like, all right, this has to happen. And I had such cold feet. I almost texted, like, it was like 5 minutes. And he can tell you, we were supposed to be on like 15 minutes before. And I didn't send him the link till 5 minutes before. I almost texted him and said I couldn't do it. That's how nervous I was. So
I fully understand.
Then he came in and, I was fumbling and stumbling over my words. It was hard. I couldn't even remember the name of the podcast. I was like, oh, it was not good. So but once that first one was out of the way, and like I said, I still feel like throwing up in my mouth sometimes when we're coming on these things. Like it's starting to subside a little bit, but it's still it's a little nerve wracking. Like you don't know how you're going to be, especially those first couple. Like you don't know how everyone's going to perceive you. You're you're doing your thing. Like I like to think I am who I am here, and I am who I am out in real life. Is kind of very similar. Obviously, a little more toned back, And like Dan says, like IPA nights will bring out a little bit more Beerski. So here we go. Like if you come to Beerski Palooza, you're going to see a lot of Beerski. So like whatever you want to do there. But yeah, it was exciting to like start it and get it going. I can't like really put a finger on one exact moment. It was just kind of everything happened so fast, and I was just trying to make things happen and be involved. I just want to continue to be involved, and that's really what all this is. Like I just want to be involved in all of this. This is my way of doing it.
Yeah, it's I think I've said it before as well. I'm having the conversations I want to have with the people in real life and sharing it with the world. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Walrus is saying I had diarrhea and that's why I was late. Thanks, buddy.
I'll put that on the screen just to make sure we can show that on YouTube. Yeah.
Going to lie to me? I had some bad guacamole.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, we can throw all those reasons out there. But no, it's exactly those conversations that we would love to have in person. Obviously, you just can't always have that, and you get to meet the people and talk and pick their brain and share ideas and build friendships. And it's all it is.
It was also Mr. Walrus who put me on the path of really having people on the channel that didn't have big YouTube presences. I remember saying, he goes like, Dan and Nick and all of them are great, and they are, love them, and he said it, but like it's a lot of just like the same people being on all the time, and everyone's seeing, no one's getting other people's stories. So it's like focus on that, and I kind of focused on that and just started focusing on getting people that have YouTubes but maybe not a big presence. I mean, obviously I've had some big, like Brad G Cards, what a stud, 10,000 plus subscribers, had no freaking clue, just doing shorts and stuff. And he came in, I was like, what's up? Like, Brad, I didn't know you had 10,000 people. He goes, yeah, it's, I got 10,000, like so nonchalant about it, didn't care. It's like, yeah, I ripped some packs online and stuff. And then, so, it's just nice having people on. I had PK on, when I had PK on, the Green Shiz put in like, oh, just way to have those people with no YouTube presence on, like, something like that. So, like, whoops, sorry, like, So but it is nice, like hearing from other people in the hobby, and again,
it really is.
When you're at the conventions and stuff, you could talk to everyone as much as you want, but it's very focused on like specific things because you're all living in the same moment. So like when you get to take a step back and like actually talk to people and really feel them out, because you're not having like, I mean, you're having nuanced talks about things, but you're not having like specific questions where you're trying to like get down to the bottom, because there's so much going on.
Yeah, you can't. There's no way.
Not at all.
Now, these deep dive one-on-ones, I think, are really a way to open up the doors that you can't typically get to in those types of settings. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So what's next on the Beerski podcast? What are you going to do? What do you have in mind?
So I want to try and do some like vlog type stuff, Collecticons. Okay. I think the New Jersey Collecticon is going to be the big one for me. I still want to continue to have people on every other week for, interviews. Or just, I don't even call them interviews. It's more just like a general chat. Like, you're the interview master. You interview people. I just have people on and BS with them a little bit for an hour or 2 hours. You hit hard hitting questions from Wonder. But I just want to keep rolling with that. Keep doing that. I'd like to have some guests that were on come back on and like kind of have like, what are they doing now style podcast. Like, we talked however long ago. What do you got going on now? Let's chat about the current market. But yeah, just kind of keeping that train rolling, keeping it going. Like I think I found my little niche on YouTube. Like, I don't think I'm gonna do a lot of box breaking or any stuff like that. Like that's really not like my thing, I guess. Like, I like opening packs every once in a while on shorts, but I feel like those are the big things for me.
We got Pete Tetchu. To be fair, Beerski had me on YouTube channel. Is lacking hard compared to most. I just see Beerski's passion talking about topics. Yeah.
Thanks, Pete. That means a lot, man. Yeah, and I feel super passionate about all this. Like, and I'm not the most articulate person. I know I stumble a lot in my words. It drives me crazy when I do it. Like, my brain moves too fast for my mouth sometimes, and I can't get the words out right. And I know I like gotta stop a lot. So maybe I need to learn to calm down a little bit. But I'm just so jazzed up being on. Like, I just want to word vomit out everything I can get out while I'm doing it. Like, might as well puke it out while I can.
That's right. That's right. Get it while the getting's good, right? We see R&D raid here. Appreciate you guys stopping in, guys. Appreciate you, Zach. It's always good to see you, my friend. Thanks, Zach. Welcome in, everybody. All right. So, I mean, you're looking at doing some vlogging. You're going to keep on with the guests. Have you found it hard? Again, we kind of spoke a little bit about this before, but have you found it hard to schedule guests and kind of keep that train rolling and juggle life and then manage your other podcasts? Because now you got a second podcast.
Yeah, So the second podcast is awesome. I really do enjoy that. So I was doing my other one every week this year, and then when the second podcast came, I kind of doing the fortnightly Dan style pokey flip / his own channel stuff. Excuse me. You know, I just again, I keep losing my train of thought here. I go on these little tangents. I'm sorry. That's so annoying. What were we doing again? I'm sorry. I just messed that completely up.
Guest. Looking at scheduling guests.
Oh, scheduling guests. Yeah. Scheduling the guests on. I haven't had a hard time scheduling the guests. I've been pretty lucky with that. Most of the people I've asked have said yes, and if they haven't said yes, then they just need like a week or two or a month or two. I've been trying to get E-Unit on for a little bit. He just moved recently, so I'm waiting for E-Unit to get on. But I think doing it every other week gives you a lot of wiggle room. Doing it every week was going to start getting hairy for me because I only know so many people in the hobby. But I guess I need to start branching out and just start really like hitting everyone up that I can. Like, just come on, just chat for a little bit.
I think I saw somebody here say, "Yeah, you can have me on too." I think it was Zard Lurkin. I think he was volunteering to be a guest.
Oh, right on. I've been waiting to make some content, talk Pokemon person interaction, hoping to make it shortly. It's awesome, Zard Lurkin. Wait for me. Send me a DM. We'll set something up. I've had a couple people reach out to me to be on, which is awesome and like kind of humbling. Like, you want to come on my channel? Like, awesome, absolutely, come on. So yeah, not so much like getting people to get on, but I guess trying to keep like content fresh and stuff, and not make it seem so recycled, like, because a lot of it's recycled, like, and that's, you don't want that to happen. I think Ponga said it to me before, like, a lot of the stuff that gets talked about is just kind of the same stuff. So I try not to do all the same stuff. I try not to keep it obviously I'll talk about hot topics and stuff, but I try not to beat them to death. I try and find something new. And like the It's Beer O'Clock podcast is really, there's no structure to that at all. Like, the only thing I have written down every night is to say, like, hey man, what's going on? Tell me what you got going on in life. Like, and we just go from there. Like, that's where it is. Like, Box Nostalgia, obviously a little bit more, but like that's really it. My wife's always like, how do you just go on there with nothing written down? I was like, I don't know, because once I start writing stuff down, I don't even get to half of it, because chat takes you. That's the good thing about chat and like that kind of open thing. Chat steers you where they want to go. They ask you questions. And so I just kind of let chat steer the way, and then we can chat about stuff that way. And I feel like if you get a 2-hour podcast out of something, that I feel like that's pretty good.
With an open and one-liner, right? That's really good. Yeah,
that's it. Really, like, I'm all about that. Like, it's very not, it's unstructured. And I think that's when I send people, like, you want to come on, like, it's a very chill chat. It's not structured. We talk about literally whatever you want. Pokemon, sports. I don't care what we talk about. It's Beer O'Clock. It's kind of vague for a reason. We can talk about most anything. Obviously, it's Pokemon, centric, but I'm cool to talk about literally anything on the channel. So. Yeah,
you do a really good job of navigating that, and I like how you bring in the chat and you really weave it in a nice way. And that's one of the things it's challenging, and when you do have the structured content, or you're trying to go through certain pieces of things and then weave in the chat, you miss some things in the process, and never want anybody to feel left out. But it's hard to weave it all in.
And that's it. You don't want people to feel left out. I know people hate, like, I noticed Walrus before when I was saying, like, it's nice having like Ponga, and Randy goes, so I'm just one of your guests then. Like, so like, you don't want to insult anyone. And no, Walrus, you're not just one of my guests. You will always be my first.
The number one.
Just remember, you will always be my first.
That's right. I feel like we should all shed a tear after that. Peak That Juice says, I got a couple of guests lined up coming up in the next few weeks. I'd recommend finding people on IG who have great, interesting collections to talk about. Yeah, it's good.
That's good. So I will also say this: imposter syndrome is a thing. Why do they want to come on and talk with me? It's like one of the first things that come through my mind. So maybe I need to put myself out there a little bit more. I feel sometimes imposter syndrome so hard doing this. Like, and I say to my wife, like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, if these people coming on, like Pete coming on my channel was huge. Like the knowledge that man has, and like that was just such like a free flowing, awesome conversation. He had so much to bring up and talk about. You know, we had a very good conversation after that call too, like for another 30 to 40 minutes. Like it was just like the amount of time he took to like really go out there and say stuff. So it was great. Just when you thought you were out, I pulled you back in.
That's right.
I gotcha.
Can't let you get too far away, Rollers. Got to keep you close to the chest, my friend.
Absolutely.
So now I do want to hear the story because I didn't know, and it really struck me out of surprise. Where did the Box podcast come from? I know you guys had them on your channel, and then you guys just started chatting after that. Is that how it all kind of started?
So Ponga is an enigma wrapped in a riddle. Okay, sometimes he plays hard. He plays hard to get so well, and like so we had our conversation. I think he was the fourth guest on, or the fourth person on. We chatted. We chatted afterwards. He said how much he enjoyed it, and then he sent a text message like, maybe we can make this something more. And then that was kind of like it for a little bit. And then he would send the big eyes, like the big eyes emoji. And then I sent the big eyes emoji, like, are you serious? And then he sent it again. And then there was like radio silence for a while. I think he was in the middle of some personal stuff. I know he took a step back from Pokemon last year for a little bit. So I texted him, you know, not frequently, but just like, hey, man, hope everything's good. You know, I know you were interested in this. And he said that he was taking a step back, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, just one day out of the blue, he texted me, like, so do you want to do this? And I was like, yes, I want to do this. And then we were going over names and stuff. We were talking about, and again, this all happened so fast. Like, we had, from the moment we, like, said we were going to do the podcast, it was 2 weeks before our first episode.
Really?
So, yeah. Oh, it was
quick. Never would have guessed.
It was so fast. We did it really quick. I was like, all right, well, we can do this. We were going to do it that week. I was like, we need a little bit of time. So we figured a structure out for the podcast. We came up with a name. We had a living document that we were chatting in and stuff.
Okay.
Write names down that we liked. I can't remember who came up with the name. I think it was kind of like, we kind of took two and put it together. Okay. It was like, this works. His wife's in graphic design. Or something similar to that, I think.
So she got the logo for you?
She made the logo.
Nice.
And then so she made just like the box, which says Box Nostalgia and all that stuff. And then I was like, all right, we're going to do this. I went into Canva and I was like, what's like nostalgic? What's very 90s? And I was like, neon colors are very 90s. So I just started throwing neon colors everywhere. And that's kind of how we got that name and all of that. And we put it together and started filming. Pong and I just click. In a way that I didn't think I would click with someone on a podcast like that. Yeah. We had a really good conversation the first time. He's hysterical. We definitely have varying thoughts and takes on things. He's obviously a sealed Japanese guy, and I'm like this new dirty flipper that's in the hobby. So, but no, it's been working out so well. We're 7 episodes in now.
Loving it,
and going strong. Like he's just been in the middle of a move. I said to him, like, listen, dude, if you need time, I know you're moving. He goes, I've put my commitment to this. It's happening. He hasn't missed a date yet. Like, he's been on point. So, yeah, dude, it's great. So it really was like almost an out of the blue thing. Like, because I didn't think that I was holding off for him. And then one day he's like, yeah, I'm in.
Let's do this now.
Yeah. You want to do this? And I was like, all right, like, buy me dinner first, bro.
Send him another big eye emoji back and say, I'm waiting.
Dude, there were so many. Oh my God. Look at Ray. Wow. Beersy's saying we didn't click. We clicked just fine, Ray. Listen to you people. Come on.
Don't you love it, Ray?
You saved that podcast yesterday, Ray. Without you, it would have exploded in my face. Like I said, I was a sweating puddle over here about to hit the end button. You saved it.
Don't worry, Ray. I caught that. Don't you love it when your wife looks at you and she goes, "It's just fine."
Yeah,
you did just fine. You did just fine.
Yeah, it's fine. That's what my wife says. It's fine.
We know it's not. We know it's not.
Yep.
So you had your first guest on. So Ray was your official first guest and the first live at once. So is that going to be like a recurring thing?
Yes. So I think all of our lives will have guests. We were trying to figure a way to do it. And we didn't know like if the structure was going to work out. I think a lot of problems with some podcasts is when you have the third person on, there's like someone's a third wheel the whole time. Right. And they're not involved in the conversation. I feel like we avoided that last night by having, I feel like that structure is good and everyone can have thoughts on stuff. And it wasn't just like one person talking the whole time or two people talking and one person sitting around and not talking the whole time. So that's what we're trying to, that's what we were afraid of happening. Excuse me, but the structure worked out very well last night, and I want to keep going with that. What do we got? My wife usually hits me, or what are you doing here? If I walk into the room after she lays down, I woke my wife up this morning. It wasn't good. She was unhappy. Not happy to wake up. Oh, she's a poor sleeper. So when it's me not grabbing my clothes the night before and putting them in the other room, and, like sneaking in the room like the Grinch, trying to like peel stuff open to get
the floor squeaking.
Oh, the dog's following me, clopping behind me. Oh, dude. So I asked her,
being quiet now.
Is it me? Is it the dog? She goes, it's the light on your phone. So now I can't see without the light on my phone. So it came over.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, I can't do anything now.
My wife's a hard sleeper, so I'm lucky there. But yeah, I always kind of tiptoe through, and I'm really soft to my feet. So
I'm like a ninja in this house, except at 4 a.m. in the morning, I guess.
There was a joke a long time. I forget who did it, but they talked about how men are quiet in the house. And like when they close the door and like everybody's sleeping, like we wait and like we're turning every single spring, right?
Yep.
And then girls just come in and they slam the door.
Yep.
So, did I wake you up?
Pots, pan. My daughter comes downstairs and opens the freezer door, runs it open, and then slams it shut. And you're just like, oh, glad I was sleeping. Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate that. I don't need a good night's rest. By the way, you're not getting up at 3 tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow is tomorrow I can push it to like 5.
Oh man, okay. I'll try not to keep it too late.
Yeah. Keep me as late as you need to. I'm here.
I forgot. Yeah, I know you were talking about starting your shifts earlier and earlier.
I only have 3 more work days until I'm going to Orlando, so I don't care.
You can get through anything in 3 days.
I'm pretty sure Tuesday I'm gonna leave at lunch and not tell anyone and just be happy. Hey, I'm gonna look at my boss and say I'll see you next Tuesday because I have
your carrying case.
Yeah, whatever. I'll see you guys later. Like that's it. Like I have a hard time. Like once I know it's happening, like 2 days before is always a struggle. And I'm like, I'm going to work the full day. And I don't think I've ever worked a full day the day before a vacation. I'm like, you know what? I was like, you don't even have to pay me for the hours. I just leave right now, cut my time. I'll go home. That's where I'm at this week.
If they force us to stay, we just silently quit there anyways. It's fine. It's like, I'm not
dude. I'm checked out. I'm checked out. I can't wait to get out of there and not be there and be in Orlando.
I'm excited for you, man. I've heard some good things. I haven't been to Orlando, so I would love to see it one day.
Yeah, Brad G says it's one of the best places for Eclecticon. So,
question: it looks mighty hot. Beersky should take off his shirt.
You think it's hot now? If I take the shirt off, let me tell you, I am. I'm just, dude. I sweat. I never used to sweat, and now I'm just a freaking sweater.
Yeah.
So it is
old dirty guys. Yeah, that's
it's the hair too. Like the hair does not help with the sweating situation at all whatsoever.
Don't let the shaved face fool you, right?
No, right? It's. I mean, it's getting long. I haven't cut this. So this hair is growing from completely shaved, like bicked.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like though I had long hair, and then the one day I just bicked it, and came out and showed my wife and daughter, and they did not like it at all. And I was like, okay, we got to pivot back. And it was a long time to pivot back. Like we were in the throes of COVID, and I was like, let me shave this hair off. Felt like Frank Reynolds. I just want to be pure. Rubbing hand sanitizer on my body.
Got inspired by Bezos. Let's do this.
Oh man,
Amazon all the way. So tell me, Beerski, man, after 8 months, there's one thing that you touched on. I think it was either with Dan or maybe it was somebody else, but you touched on social media as a whole. But I want to hear from your perspective now, sitting though 8 months later, really all in, because I know for myself, it's a huge change. It's a huge shift from probably where we both were prior to starting to now, and how much we're in all the different niches of social media. What kind of impact does it have on
you? So this group of people, the impact's very positive.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this group of people. Obviously, you're going to have bad actors and, bad personalities around. And that you just need to choose not to engage in all that. But I think I know what you're talking about. I think it was with BB when I talked.
It was. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was
Yeah,
with
it was
BB.
BB.
Yeah.
I was a big proponent of Reddit. I loved it for years. And then one day I just caught myself like doom scrolling it. And I was like, and everything on it was like not good. It was about, this was all happening during like the beginning of the invasion in Ukraine. Like, I was just like doom scrolling through stuff with that. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And it was like, it was really stressing me out. I was getting stressed out. So I kind of stopped that. I hadn't been on Facebook for years. I don't do Snapchat. I never had an Instagram till Pokemon. Never had a Twitter till Pokemon. Never had, well, I'm sorry, X, whatever it is now, till Pokemon. Like I don't do social media. I was never big into it. During the pandemic, things got a little crazy with people on the internet, just kind of saying whatever they felt like saying. And I felt like things were very divisive. So that's when I got off of Facebook. And then Reddit kind of held over. But, once it starts affecting you like that, you start feeling crummy doing it. Like there's no reason to do it anymore. Mental health is important. So not subjecting yourself to things that are going to make you feel crappy, I think is a good first step. Yeah. But like I said, like this hobby and these people are great. Like I feel no stress being on Discord and reading comments on Discord. I feel like there's barely any beef in between those people. Any beefs that do pop up are short-lived and kind of some of them are for clicks and whatnot. And it's kind of not even what it appears to be. But yeah, I just think social media as a whole, in the context on which we use it, is great. Like it connects us with actual people we want to be connected with. But it's a very small, thin, minute line that you can cross over and it not be cool anymore. And there'd be stuff and bad actors and stuff you don't want to deal with.
Do you find it sucking the time away though? Even though it's positive?
Yeah, it definitely is a time suck. It definitely can suck some time away. And like I said on that too, you have to choose to hit the read all and not sit and scroll through 400 comments.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is just nonsense. And even in the Discords that I'm in, like Oak's Discord and Pokenomics, like for every really good piece of information, there's just like a lot of banter that's part of that, but you don't really even need to read that to get what you need. And it's just more like you're reading conversations between 2 or 3 people, and you really don't need to read all that. So that's kind of like where that time suck. And I remember saying that now, like you kind of have to choose. Like I don't have to read every single comment, because I feel like at the beginning it was like more of like FOMO stuff. Like I felt FOMO just being in the hobby and
had to read it, had to stay up to date.
I had to read it, know what was going on, know what people were thinking about stuff, so I could have my own informed like decisions. Like, all right, this person thinks this person thinks this. What do I think about this? So it's like thought provoking, but it's also like you're taking a lot of time to analyze and using a lot of energy to analyze what people are thinking out loud on a Discord chat. So, like I said, I still have to. I still have to, catch myself every once in a while. Freaking walrus, man. I'm just gonna turn. I can't even look at it because it throws me off. I still have to catch myself and turn off the social media sometimes. I still have to I will go and like Instagram and YouTube, like their shorts thing, suck you in too. So like
it's almost as bad as
it's almost as bad. Like, and I catch my stuff and the stuff on YouTube. It's not even like if it was all. It's not all Pokemon though. Like I don't care about the people dancing to the new German dance pop video. Like I don't need to see it for a million times. Like I'm over it, but I'll still scroll through it. Like why am I doing this? So it's something that I catch myself doing, and I still need to continue to because like you're wasting time there. Like you're literally just wasting time.
Yeah,
and like you say all the time, you don't get it back.
No, you don't.
Like I don't want to be dead, and like maybe they show your stats when you die, and like bro, you scrolled YouTube shorts for 60 hours of your life, bro. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? 100 hours. Like you scrolled for a long time. You know what I mean? It's bad enough we sleep as much as we do and miss all that time during the day. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
And it's a weird mix because I've definitely had mixed feelings on parts of it where, for example, I really wish I could see and catch some of the people I really want to watch more or want to catch some of their videos or some of the details that they've, put out recently, but I don't have the time.
Yeah.
A new podcast drops from Oak and Green. You're like, I want to go check it out. And like, I'll say watch for later, but then life happens and I get busy and I'm getting ready for the next thing and I'm getting orders and it's like, okay, I don't have that much time. And then I'm always doing research. So it's tough, man.
The drives for me make it easy to consume that kind of content. Like an hour and a half drive, you just put on 2x, you can eat up so much content in a day because it's almost 3 hours of driving a day I do. So
okay. You're still doing that much?
That much, man.
Wow, dude. That changes things.
It changes, and it sucks. Like, and I say that to my wife, like it sucks losing that time.
Yeah,
because that is just time. You're not getting paid for it. Mm-hmm. You're actually spending money to go to work. You know what I mean? It's a lot of money. It's an expensive amount of money for for driving back and forth. So it's nice that I have that. I'm sorry I cut you off there. I didn't mean that.
That's all right. Yeah, no, my wife used to do the same thing. Yeah, so many podcasts, so little time. She would drive an hour and a half, hour and 50 minutes each way, and she would just lose like 3 hours of her day every day. It's like so they finally moved closer. She's 15 minutes away now, and it's perfect. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's just it's insane losing that. Like I work 8 hours, but I'm gone for 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or 11.
It's not especially when you got little ones, man.
It's tough. I mean, it's nice that the hours we work kind of lend themselves to you having a family life at night. 7 to 3.
Right. Always off.
And it's always the same. And I'm always off on the weekend. So like you have that, but that's a lot of hours. I mean, that's 3, 6, 12, that's 15, 18 hours a week you're losing just driving.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen to podcasts.
15 hours a week. Yeah.
Listen to podcasts. Yeah, at least,
Yeah.
Catching up. All right, man. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the market. I'm curious on some of your thoughts. And I haven't spent, back to the point I just made, haven't spent that much time watching some of the videos. I know there's been a ton lately. But you being a GameStop employee, I wanted to get your take on what's happening here.
So yeah, the GameStop stuff, man. I don't know. So I didn't know anything about Pokemon cards when I worked at GameStop. We sold packs every once in a while. You would get them, and again. So I said this last night. The GameStop has changed their business model so dramatically from when I worked there to now. They're more like a pop culture store than a video game store. Yeah. More these days. Like you walk in there, it's like a Spencer's Gifts or Hot Topic, but just for video game stuff. I talked with Ray about this last night. I think it's a bad business decision for GameStop. And then he brought up the thing like it's bringing more people into the hobby, which it is because it'll be awesome. People go to GameStop and see graded cards, and like graded cards are cool. Love seeing graded cards, and like it might draw people in who have never thought about being in Pokemon cards ever. But I just don't know how they're going to. First of all, I don't know who's trading in their cards for $2.70 a card, especially when grading fees are $15. Like I unless you're really that hard up, you're gonna see a lot of theft and a lot of stuff like that. And they already had a huge issue with that when I was working there, especially like I think Miami was one of the worst hit spots for theft in the country, to the point where they would have to take down your driver's license. They would have to take all the stuff they traded in, put it in take your driver's license information out, put it in totes in the back and hold it for 7 to whatever many days to make sure that there wasn't a theft report out for its stuff. So like that's what you're dealing with. So now you're going to see that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, if you know your buddy's sitting on alt arts and you don't like your buddy that much and you go rob your buddy and you trade him in for whatever you trade him in for, you don't care. So I feel like it's going to lend a lot to that. I don't understand. I don't know if this is like a last ditch effort for GameStop to stay relevant. I don't know if this is why they're I don't think this is why their prices spiked recently the past couple of days on the stock market. It's gone up quite a bit.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I can't see that being a graded card thing. I don't think that's it. I don't, again, the model has changed so much. They're so far behind, like everything going digital. They pushed against digital so hard. Like there was a whole campaign with GameStop when I was there for us to like not push digital product, make sure that we were getting physical product in their hands. Yeah, because their business model is I'm going to sell you this game. I'm going to make no margin on it because it's just wholesale and I'm making whatever penny. But then you're going to come back and trade it in and I'm going to give you $30 or $20 and I'm going to sell it for $54.99. And that happened all the time. So like that's where all their money came from. And it was just artificial. Once it became digital, like they knew. And that's when I started like getting out of GameStop. Like they knew it was coming. And it was just a matter of time before the digital sphere really dug into their main business was just they're a pawn shop. And GameStop was essentially a pawn shop for years and years and years. And now it doesn't work anymore. And they're kind of pivoting back to an old model that I think only works if, the demand is there, but it's not like, I just don't see it. It's not like you can go in there and buy new cards and have them graded right there and take them home, love them for a couple of days, and then come back and trade them back for $20 store credit. You know what I'm saying? It's a different model completely.
Well, and to the point I think that you're making is, on they were really making the money on the second round of the video game turn-in and resale.
Yeah.
But if they're going to take this approach on graded cards, especially, they're already starting off at the second round because they didn't have to pay. They didn't have to pay the margins to get it. They're just going to give you a fraction of the price. Now, I did see that article on Poke Beach. That's one of the few things I did see. And the prices actually look somewhat fair market price.
That Norvern V?
Yeah.
So I guess the big V card, like not big V cards, like the big alt art hits and stuff, I guess they're offering more close to those prices. But that makes sense for them to do that because those are what people want. Like I know PK went in there and they were giving him $2.70 for most cards.
I didn't watch PK's video yet. I gotta check.
Yeah, that's what they were going to give him. I know a couple other people went in there, so I don't think it's all as good as it seems. Like that's nice.
Okay.
But also, if people are going to start doing this, like PK was in there, and I guess he waited in line because there was someone else doing it, and then you need, you bring in 10 cards. How long is it going to take? Because they have to authenticate every single slab. Like there's also like a checklist that they have to go through.
I saw that. Yeah. There's no way.
So I just, it's hectic enough. Yeah. Can you imagine the thing we hated most working at GameStop is having trades come in during like busy times because it literally slows the entire operation down. It's horrible.
Yeah.
You have to go through, verify everything, make sure that all the right games are in the right stuff, make sure there's no scratches on discs, blah, 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 all that stuff. Imagine doing that. And you're comfortable with the product. You're trained, you're comfortable with that product. Now imagine doing that with product you're not comfortable with. Like PK said, the guy had to call another store to verify stuff. Now imagine having to do that, what that's going to do to your business. Like who's going to stand in a GameStop for 30 minutes waiting to check out a $10 game? No one's going to do it.
No.
Because your Pokemon cards, like what do you mean you're doing these Pokemon cards? And then are you going to alienate the people trading the cards in? So now you got to wait. Let me take care of this line and then I'll get to you. So and retail is very tricky with that because you can have a best friend one day and then the next day they come into your store and they tear you apart. So it's very much a what have you done for me lately kind of thing, just like most jobs. But but in like retail, you can have great customers that turn on you in a dime if you're not giving them the same customer service. Because I prided myself on my customer service. I made sure that I had regulars that came back. I had regulars that would follow me to other stores. Like you would get moved to a new store and they would come to my store. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I don't think it's going to be successful for them. unless they're doing mystery products with it, like PK alluded to, or some other people alluded to, that may do mystery products with it. I just don't know. Or if it's going, is it going to the PSA vault? Because apparently they're also not keeping them in house; they're shipping them somewhere right now. So where are they getting shipped to? Are they getting shipped to? I think they're from. I think GameStop's. It's Grapevine, Texas.
Okay.
So is it getting shipped there, and then is it getting distributed out? Is it getting shipped there? Is it going to get sold on an eBay account? Is it, I just don't get it, especially if they're giving comps that high, 85%. Like, you can't sell it online, you're not going to make the money back. So it doesn't make sense. So that's what it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not the biggest finance guy in the world by any means at all, but just like you said,
the math doesn't math.
Like, the math doesn't math. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, doesn't make any sense. I feel like they're really opening themselves up to a lot of problems with theft.
GameStop can barely answer their own phones. They're for sure not going to answer now. You want to evaluate 50 subs and $20 slabs.
Thank you for calling GameStop, where we buy and sell used games. This is Kevin speaking. How may I help you? That shit is burned into my mind. It will never go away. Like, that was the line. It'll never, ever go away. It's in my head.
I love it, man. I used to be a Hollywood Video.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's where I was when I was younger. Because the Blockbuster was shutting down. We had Hollywood. We were taking over.
The Blockbuster,
yeah.
Those were the days.
Good times, man.
If you're calling, your life is in shambles. I mean, those are my favorite calls. My system I have is not working that I just bought from you. My first thing was always, is it plugged in? Yes, it's plugged in. And I would go, I want you to go over to it and physically touch the plug. Oh, it wasn't plugged in. Thank you. Click.
Yeah.
That was it. Or sometimes
lick your finger and stick it in the socket.
It wasn't plugged in. Click. And you're like, all right.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I think their biggest problem is initially going to be resources and knowledge. Even if they want to throw the capital at it, that's one thing. Say it's for some future play. I think Brian at Pokeannie talked about it. He says, maybe they would build up a mass amount and turn themselves into small LGSs and, redistribute that and no longer offer 85, percent on market price and offer something later. It'd be like, 5%, 10%, like get back to the old game model. Yeah. But then just try to take over local LGSs. Even if they did that, it's the resources. I think they're vastly underestimating what they need to make that possible.
100%.
And run a business that you already have. That was what you're entirely built on. But I do agree with you as well that they were falling apart in terms of not keeping up with the times. And I don't know that they would be able to be honest. They would have to get into a whole new market segment. And I just don't think this is the right one.
I mean, they should rename their company Roaring Kitty because he saved them. He literally made them important again. And then they fell off again because their model is terrible. Now it's not good. Like, you go into a GameStop now, there's no excitement walking into them anymore. The employees don't look happy working there. Like, it's not a fun place to be anymore. I used to love going there. I always had fun. Always enjoyed my time. So, and to the point of like the knowledge base, like I've now in this almost 2 years, like really deep into it. And like, I now just like feel comfortable. Like, and PK said, like, people just buy slabs at conventions. They don't check anything. Like, these people have to check everything because they don't know what they're looking for. Like, that checklist is there because they need that checklist to know that they're not making. And then what happens if the employee, and that's another thing, GameStop is brutal when it comes to, that was fake. Why'd you take that in? We taught you better. Why didn't you use the checklist? Now you're fired.
Yeah.
Like, and that will happen. And you will see that it's going to happen. It's just going to be, I don't think it's good for anyone. I really don't. I just don't see it working out.
Time will tell.
Yeah,
we got an actual question from Walrus. Best flip to make money right now.
Oh man, best flip to make money right now was to buy all the alt arts you could have 5 months ago and send them to PS right now to grade them. Was the best flip you could do to make money right now. I mean, I've focused on stuff that's kind of gone and passed a little. Like I got some stamp box promos I was into, again, like Crown Zenith stuff. I've been buying, like I don't right now, like I don't want to say I'm not into the right now, but like I haven't been opening any of the new sets. I haven't really been messing with any of those cards.
Okay.
Like that hasn't been like one of my goals this year is like open every set, open a booster box of everything, do all that. But then you're just kind of flushing money down the toilet, Mr. Walrus.
Yeah.
So I kind of stopped doing that. It kind of just became like more of like all right, yeah, like I got to open this up rather than like sitting down and being excited to open it up. But like, I don't know, flip it. I just look at stuff that's high, like Dan says, high pop stuff. I think is where it's at right now. Like you can have niche stuff, but if you have something that people are like, look at what the Moonbrion's doing right now. Like it's 13,000 tens or something like that. It's just like cruising. It's cruising. It's doing its thing.
Going, but it's a little late to buy in.
It's a little late to buy. You can't flip any of that. So I feel like right now you kind of had to be not set up a little bit. I mean, there's plays everywhere. There's little plays everywhere. I just don't have the play for people. I'm not the guy to give the play.
No, I'm not giving the play, but I will say one that I've made a little bit on. I won't do too much into it because I'm not gonna put too much money on any one spot really. But I was surprised at the desire for people to buy Pokemon Go cards. Very surprised. I'm not talking about like the Mew and like the Dragonite and the rares. People wanted the regular reverse hollow Blastoise in a tin. And they'll pay $40 for it.
That was happening with 151 as well. People just wanting regular reverse hollow and hollows of those in tens, paying $40, $50. Like Mewtwo, $50 card.
So, okay. So, sure. 10 cents card. It's like,
yeah.
Great and grade it. And if I get a 10, if not, okay, fine. Whatever. Take a loss. But I mean, that to me was very surprising. So yeah, I play a little bit of those, and that's easy to move and huge margins there.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you have a bunch of it laying around as bulk and stuff, if you're ripping stuff. And that's so I talked to Chef about that with the 151 stuff. He was like, dude, look at all this stuff popping up. Even like Celebrations full art Pikachus. Like those $5 card or whatever, less than that, cheaper. Like they're $2 or something.
They were like $1. Yeah, like $1.
Cheap. I got 1 out of 10, and it graded a 10 that I sent out, and it paid for all those plus some. So like stuff like that, they're there. I mean, it's not super like not the best flips, and it's not super modern flips, but the little flips are there. It's just Yeah,
I'll tell you where and I really did. I keep going back to that because I really enjoyed that conversation you had with Ernie. He dropped a lot of really good nuggets in that conversation.
Ernie, I tell you, he is like
it was good. I was like,
the
man,
sensei of the hobby. Sometimes,
yeah, I loved it.
He's wise beyond his years. That man.
It was a good conversation, but he talked about if you're willing to put in the work that's there, like it's everywhere. It's anywhere you look, you can create the opportunity. Fully agree with him there. One of the other areas is because we really specialize in singles on our side here. A lot of that middle era stuff, and when I say middle era, I'm talking about black and white, platinum RCS, maybe even later EX, that kind of stuff. But that stuff moves. People are wanting to collect those. They're putting them in their binders. They're, I guess, fulfilling their sets. And then there's still people putting together a lot of the expanded decks. People are buying, sets of 4 for cards that are 10 years old, building their decks. And so if you can get the supply in and get the quantity in, they move. And then if of course you're buying them in mass, 1,000 card lot for whatever, a couple pennies each.
Yeah, listen singles, man, is good on you. That's a tough that's a lot of work. Like to list that many singles, so I definitely applaud you for that. I've listed some singles. I have boxes of them here that say list on eBay on top of the box, and like I open it up, I see how many are in the box.
You look at it, like close the
box. That's exactly what happens. I'm like, oh man, like I could list all these. There's hundreds of dollars sitting in there, but I just have to go through and like really like I need to get back to listing and all of that. Like. But I'm filling the binders out. Like, that's why I like that. Like, fill a binder out. You can spend 4 hours, 5 hours at a show and take all that other work out of it. You don't have to take pictures. You don't have to list stuff on eBay. So
I just saw that one from Ray. His favorite said, "Did somebody say Pokemon Go?"
Jason Page, he's going to be singing it a bunch next week.
Sure did, man. Sure did. But no, I've said it 1,000 times, but one more time, Beerski, for those that maybe didn't hear it, I don't take pictures. If and I was telling Rusty the same thing. If I had to take pictures of every single card, I just wouldn't do it. Like there's no way.
You just shoot stock photos.
No, yeah. So I use stock photos, but I don't even do it. I just pay for the service to do it.
Oh so that's right.
Binder POS, man. So I use them. They integrate with TCG Player. They integrate with eBay. I just say I got 10 of these, 15 of these. Enter, and I'm done. I can move to the next card. So I'm not managing my listings. I'm not managing
all that for you.
Yeah. Now they take a cut. You have to pay monthly, and they take a cut of the sales. So to be fair,
what's the cut?
2%.
Okay, and then the monthly,
$100.
$100 a month. All right, but if you're managing a store with tons and tons and tons and tons of singles, it's definitely where you're gonna make your money back. Definitely.
Yeah, it's
and
that's
about time.
Numbers.
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah, I mean time saved. Like the amount of time they save me.
Well, it's $100 for a month. Like listing 30 cards will take you an hour. You know what I mean? Maybe more. Taking pictures and all that, because that's what really gets me. It's taking pictures and doing all that. Like it's so like I'll sit down and I'll take pictures, and then like I'll be like, all right, I have the pictures taken. I'll wait a day and I'll list. And then like a day comes by and I don't list, and then I'm taking pictures of other stuff, and I scroll back and go, oh man, look at all these cards I
forgot.
I didn't do it. So there's a lot of I gotta manage my time with the hobby better. Like I think that's definitely something that I've been learning. And I've been saying this at the beginning. Like, I need set times to do stuff, and I need to like keep myself to set times, box it out. Like just everyone, like this is now I got to do this because I do want to make this a little more successful than what it is. Like it's just So maybe one day Binder POS will be a play. Yeah, I just gotta buy some bulk lots and start listing the crap out of it.
Yeah, that's the way to make the real money there. And I think even Ernie said the same thing, which is why I brought that up a few minutes ago. Ernie said, "Ground the singles, man. That's where the play is."
And I started listing singles, and it started. My sales went up on eBay quite a bit, and you'd be surprised. Like you're like, oh man, like $2-3 card, whatever. But like you sell a bunch of those, it starts adding up pretty quickly. And I think people scoff at how much you can actually make at selling singles, and like even in person, like selling the singles. Like everyone focuses on these big cards, but you sell a couple $10 singles, man. That's great.
I mean, you're usually paying very little for them. Margins are there. They're quick turnaround times. You can move it easily. They're easier to ship.
Great
everything about it.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. It works. And I got 5-row boxes. I got stuff all over the place, stuff in closets that needs to go. Like it's these card saver. Yeah. Cards. There it is. Cards to be photographed and listed. Like,
not today.
So
and for sure, Ray, don't sleep on those, or Brad, I'm sorry. Don't sleep on those dollar binders, right? Yeah. Knock them out. All right, my man. Let's move over to the personal side a little bit and dig in.
All right.
Cheers.
Yeah, let me re-crack that.
Yeah. Now that we're about to ruin lives, let's just kidding.
All right, Sarah, you can turn this off now.
Yeah. Walk away slowly. No, all jokes aside. So you have a sister.
Yes.
Did you have a brother too? I thought I heard you say one.
No brother. Okay. Just a sister.
Okay. And you guys grew up in Jersey?
Yes.
Okay.
So I grew up in Manville, and then I moved to White Township, New Jersey in 2000. And I've been in the area. I literally only live a town over from there and didn't move far.
That's cool.
Kind of stayed. And I always thought like I'd never be the person to do that. I actually always looked down on that and like scoffed at that when I was younger. Like, I don't want to be around here. I love it here. Like it's quiet and nice. Like,
because you're in the country.
Yeah. Kids are playing like in where I am, like in the summertime, you hear kids playing and birds chirping, and that's it. and it's beautiful. It's a little town. It's a cute little town. Lots of antique stores and stuff around. So, yeah, it's a nice little spot. So we moved here in, like I said, in 2000, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. And your sister was older than you, right?
Younger.
Okay.
So I was born in 88. She was born in 92. So she's 4 years younger than me.
Okay. Yeah. Where's she at now?
She's in Florida now. She moved to Florida. So my parents, my mother and my father, my sister and her daughter all moved to Florida. Not this past January, but the January before. I'm actually meeting my mom for like mother-daughter or mother-son date next Wednesday when I fly into Orlando. It's the first time I've seen her since they moved. Okay. So I haven't seen them in like a long time. So
it'd be good to see them.
Yeah, it'll be good to see. Yeah, definitely. I think it's just gonna be my mother, but it's gonna be nice to see her.
Okay. Yeah. I know we talked about your dad, but I didn't hear what your mom did for a living.
So she was kind of like a stay-at-home mom / like receptionist worker for a long time. She was kind of in and out of work. Like I said, my father made a pretty good living. So she actually works in a marina right now in Florida, which she loves.
Okay.
She worked in a lot of like dentist office and doctor's office, and like chiropractor's office stuff as receptionist. She's super smart lady when it comes to that. Very personable. Just never really, I guess, ironed out a career for herself like in that manner. Father took care of a lot of that. He's retired now and on 100% disability. Again, iron worker life.
Yeah.
So now she's working down there. I think she's happy for it too. Like she's getting to, do something she likes. She, I think, runs their office down there. So she's having a good time.
Nice. Well, a lot of the moms, we need to fly mom out to
for Beerski Palooza. She'll party with us.
100%. Probably better than some of you. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the moms really, would want to be there with the kids, have that time, because back to what we said before, like you don't get that back, and being able to spend those moments with the kids, it's something that many moms regret if they're hardworking and they're never home. Kids with somebody else. So
absolutely,
it's very important.
So it was nice having her home. I mean, we didn't make it easier. I was always getting injured and hurt, and calling her job. She had to come pick me up. Like I think the one job. So the one time, crazy story, was a kid doing what kids do. We're in the woods. We're throwing glass bottles at a tree.
Perfect.
Right? What else do you do? There was no cell phones. This is just what you did back in the day.
Yeah. Sticks, rocks, glass.
Throwing glass bottles at this tree. Well, the one kid threw a glass bottle at another tree, and that tree was like hollow or something. I don't know what it was. The bottle bounced off of it and shattered on the side of my head. Split me open. I still have the scar. I was bleeding profusely out of the side of my head. Well, her boss didn't believe her, who was a dentist. So she actually brought me to the dentist office with me bleeding. He stitched me up there because he didn't believe her, because I was always getting injured and hurt. I was in the hospital always. I was a mess as a kid.
And we thought GameStop employees had it bad. Bring your bleeding son back.
Yeah,
I'll stitch him up.
I'll stitch him. Well, he didn't believe her, so she took me there. It's like, you don't believe me? Here you go. Here it is.
You fix it. Yeah.
I had a green shirt that was red. That's how much blood had come out of me. It was disgusting. It was everywhere. It was so bad. I know, one off. Like, what are the chances? I'm lucky it didn't hit me in the eye or something. Like, literally right here is where you can actually see the scar. It's right there.
Oh, yeah. Thought that was just hair. Okay.
No, that's a scar.
My only story as bad as that would be I was a rollerblader back when I was a kid. So we were going down through a small town here called McCaddenville. And for whatever reason, the sidewalk connected to the home, I guess that was actually one of the founders of the town and kind of invested. And so it was just kind of all connected into her driveway. So we'd always use that because it was the most well-paved part of the entire sidewalk. So we would get a lot of speed and kind of zoom around the corner. Well, that day she was coming out with her car and she just hit me with it.
Oh!
And I don't know what happened. I was just sliding across the concrete. Of course, we don't need helmets or pads or anything. Those are for losers.
Yeah. Of course.
So everything was busted up. My knees, my arms, my elbows. You could see the bone in my chin. And so they were like, yeah, do you know your mom's number? So mom came over there and picked me up and ended up going to the hospital. But yeah, to your point, like it was just like a big ring of red.
Yeah, there's blood everywhere.
So I can skate home
too many times in life.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good times though. Those are some of the funnest times. I just don't want to have any permanent injuries. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, broken arms, legs, everything, fingers, nose. Like I hit in the face with a baseball, shattered my nose. Like, yeah, broke pretty good. It's crooked still. Like I don't know.
Yeah, see, if we get close up, we're gonna see all these injuries here, man. There we go. wait, we get the view. We get the view.
Oh,
I got it. So with this kind of thought process, though, was it strict for you? Because your dad was military, but was he already out by the time you were growing up?
I was out by the time we were growing up. He was strict. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things in life. Really don't speak that much anymore, him and I, which is what it is. Like, like I said, open book tonight, like be real about things. Like, and it's all right. Like I'm the black sheep of my family for sure. They do what they do. And I've kind of settled into my life with my wife and my daughter doing what we do here. And it's vastly different than, what I grew up and how I grew up. There was a lot of screaming and yelling and stuff growing up in my house. So, we don't do that here. Very calm. So yeah, he was very strict. There was a lot of not physical discipline, like that wasn't his game, but there was definitely a lot of like verbal stuff going on. So processing that throughout the years and becoming an adult and realizing like that's not how I wanted to be and doing all that. So I don't do all that. It's tough, but sometimes you have to make decisions that are right for you and your family and stuff like that. So sometimes, not talking to people who are close in your life is good for times. I mean, it's hard. It definitely is hard. Sad sometimes, but, my priority are those two.
Yeah, for sure.
Above anyone. And I say that all the time. There's only two people in this world I would die for, and that's my wife and my daughter. And that'll never change. And that's how it'll always be. And that's how I feel about that. So yeah, it was a little strict in my house growing up. Like there was definitely stuff. I mean, I didn't do anything my high school, like other than play football, because I was told like, if you're gonna run from the cops, don't do it. Right? When you're in those age, most of the stuff you're doing, if the cops come by, you're gonna be running from the cops. Not doing anything bad, but you're just gonna. So I always took that as don't get in trouble. So I was a homebody. Like I stayed home. I never wanted to get in trouble. Like there was just again, different times.
There are roles in video games.
yeah, pretty much. Like hiding in video games, and that's something that I dealt with. I mean, you go. People used to read books to get away, and like video games were my escape from a lot of the stuff growing up. Some hard times growing up. Some stuff wasn't always awesome, and that was my escape. And that escapism lasted. I mean, it's lasted into my marriage, and it was a contentious point in my marriage for a little bit, unfortunately. And but just like getting past that stuff and becoming more of an adult, realizing that like this situation is different than that situation. I don't need to escape. It was just something I was used to doing, and like that's something I don't do anymore. So like, you know what I mean? Like it's just figuring life out and having a partner who's patient and kind with you and understanding and works with you through stuff and doesn't just like give up on stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's the most important thing. Like my wife's changed my life so much in the 10 years, 12 years, 11 years I've known her. We've been married this is going to be our ninth year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll tell everyone, like, it's not always super easy, but finding the right woman or right man for you or whatever, is important. And they definitely make you grow. And I've learned a lot from her, and she's taught me so much. And, my life is better because of it.
Fully agree on the same side here in terms of my wife. Life changing. Yeah. And your wife's name is Sarah, right? So,
yes.
How did you meet Sarah?
So I met her actually at the local bar. She was bartending, and I was just down there one night. And it was like one of those struck in the face moments. I was like, oh man, like this girl's beautiful.
This girl, I need that girl right there.
She had a sundress on. Like, I love me some sundress. I'm not gonna lie. Like, she looked beautiful. So the day before, she went to the Office TV show wrap party in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and was like out all night hanging out with her friends. She was hanging out with Steve Carell and John Krasinski, and like doing all that. So yeah, they were all there. No security. They were behind the bar. She was talking with Daryl Robinson. Like, pretty cool stuff.
Wow.
So that next day, she was not happy to be at work, probably a little under the weather from activities.
Yeah.
And she, she was a little sassy. And I was like, this girl's great. And I would just go down there like a creep and sit and drink and chat a little bit. My buddy would like call me like, yo, your girl's down at the bar. So I would go down and just like, we started talking, and I don't know. It just kind of all came together there. It's funny. If I tip enough, she'll like me. Oh, that's great, man. Absolutely. I was there a lot, man. So yeah, we hung out. I think the biggest, like, we hung out on a river one day, on the Delaware River, and like that was it. Like, since then,
that was the moment.
That was like the moment, because like we were like chatting and stuff, but that's when we really like the connection was like there. And then it's been, history since then.
Pulled the old Leonard Hofstadter on her, so you just wear her down just day over day, just showing up.
Day over day. I mean, I was in town, I wasn't doing much. It was the summer. I was like, I'll just go down there and peek in. What's going on? But she said like how mysterious. I'm like not mysterious at all. And she was like, you would come in and just like wave to me and then leave. And I was like, yeah, because you were talking to other guys. Like, I wasn't gonna be the guy to come up and like linger around you while you were talking to other guys. So I would just leave. And she goes, oh, it was like so mysterious. And then I asked her out on a date in front of people, and she was taken back. She goes, people don't do that. I was like, well, I do that. Like, would you like to go out on a date with me?
Is that a yes or a no? Like,
yeah, right. It was a yes. Thank God. Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's reminds me a little bit about the Ponga eyes in text earlier. Just not giving up, man. We're gonna do this or what? We're gonna do this. Let's go,
right. Dude. I don't know. I felt hard for her. So
all right. So then now you're 9 years in, and so it's been a good journey with it. Now, is the child yours?
Yes. So Layla, that's my daughter's name. She's Layla. 13. I have so Sarah's not her biological mother. So it's kind of a mixed family. Her mother lives in North Carolina, funny enough. Havelock, North Carolina. It's by Cherry Point Marine Corps Base. Yeah, Emerald Isle, that whole area. They're actually moving to Tennessee this year. But so yeah, not so she's mine. My wife's her stepmother, but we have custody of her. She lives with us full time.
Okay.
So that was a whole thing too.
Oh, by the way.
By the way. Spent a lot of money going through that process. But worth every single penny.
But no, when kids come into the picture, no matter what the situation is, it's a positive change for the life forever.
No, absolutely. I mean, whatever happened between her mother and I, like, Layla is one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life. So, man, went to the bar, waved and left, and still got the girl. Bless this man.
It was a smile, man. It was the wave and the smile. Yeah.
I remember that when she said it to me, I can pinpoint that in my mind. Like, I remember where I was sitting in that bar. I remember where she was standing, and I remember what was going on. She was just talking to people, and she waved back, and then I left.
You're like, that's it. I'm out.
Talking to other guys. I'll see you later. Like, that's fine.
Come back next time.
Yep.
What do you think your wife would say to describe you? Now, not then.
Right.
No.
Not then. Let's see. So she said loyal, I think, is one of the and yeah, I think qualities. Loyal is like, I think, the big one. Like, I pride myself on that in life. Like, I'm loyal to those who are good to me. She's, protective. Like, I definitely protect them, take care of them. I do what I'm supposed to do as like a man and a husband. So I definitely think loyal is one of them. I think that's the biggest one.
That'd take you a long way.
Yeah, it definitely takes you a long way. Like that's, I don't know what it is about that. I've always been about that. Loyalty is, and not blind loyalty though. I'm not about that. Like blind loyalty is bad.
Right.
But like real, honest, like sincere loyalty.
Sincerity.
That's one of the big ones. So
I
I
when you
think,
know why you're doing it.
yeah, I think she would say that. I do think that. These are hard questions. Put me on the spot.
You knew this was coming, man. You knew it was
coming.
I
did. I was listening to your podcast. I was doing a little reverse engineering wonder basketball days. Believe me.
But it didn't really, at least, become clear to me as we talked through this. Why would you be the outcast of the family? It sounds like you followed your father's footsteps. You didn't really get in too much trouble. You weren't the bad child or anything. Didn't sound like. So what was the thing that pushed you to the corner?
I think I've always felt like that with them.
Okay.
And not like I won't say always. Like I don't want to. I'm trying to sugarcoat stuff that probably shouldn't be sugarcoated right now to explain this. Like,
if you want to skip this, we can.
No, I don't want to skip it. Like, let's talk about it. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm here to have this conversation. Like, it was a rough household growing up in, man. Like, it wasn't like there was verbally a lot intense stuff going on. Always. Yeah, man. So again, I just was kind of thinking. Re-hit me with that one more time.
Yeah. So what was the thing that really pushed you in the corner?
I think just different thought processes on about how things should be in life.
As far as like what you do for a living, or how you discipline your kids.
Discipline the kids. He has a much older school mentality and thought process about stuff. The best way to describe it is like. I'm trying to think of the right words here. Like, I can't, this is how it was when I was growing up. So this is how it's going to be for me forever. And there's no like growing or moving forward. And like when you grow, you got to grow and move forward, and like keeping the same old archaic thought processes you had 20 or 30 years ago. And now you're trying to not apply, you're applying them to now. And it just doesn't correlate. I have a 13-year-old daughter. Like, you need to watch what you say around her. Like, you can't be saying stuff. And we've had huge arguments at my house about it. Like, it's been one of those things. So you kind of don't want that around your wife or your daughter and stuff. So it, kind of like time out. Like, we need to like not do this. We recently had a pretty big falling out. So yeah, and it's unfortunate. And it really is sad and it sucks, but there's some things in life that I just won't let fly. And some things were said that should have never been said, frankly. And now we just kind of move on and not have to deal with that. Like, I love my mother to death. I'm so excited to see her. And it's a shame that, my father's not part of that anymore, unfortunately. And I don't think, honestly, at this point, there's much salvaging a lot what's going on, but who knows? Maybe one day he'll see that light, but there was just things that were said that are unforgivable. And there are unforgivable things to say in life. And sometimes people say them and you just kind of have to take it on the chin and go, okay, do I want to continue with this or do I want to move on? And I decided to move on.
Yeah. It's funny how, I mean, obviously they're tied to something, but it's funny how words can have such an impact. And nobody phizically touched you or hurt you, but they can have such a verbal mental impact. Yeah. Just the wrong words. Human creatures are quite fickle in that way, for sure.
Very much so. Yeah. It's just, the words hurt, man. They may be wind, but they can get you.
Well, and again, it's because it's always attached to something. It's a memory. It's experience. It's something you've shared together or together. Yeah. So it definitely can tie back to that and make it quite hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on the positive side though, what would you say is like one of those best memories with your dad? Early years, maybe.
Early years. All right. I do have a best memory. So my mother was in Florida. And this is around the time the Men in Black 1 movie came out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
On VHS, we had it. And at the end of the movie, there was the Men in Black dance. And they had like the alien dancing with the big, huge lips.
Yep.
Was doing a dance. And he opened up and he was never like this. So it was just like a rare thing. Like he opened the blinds up and we danced for like an hour to this song.
Really?
All of us. It was fantastic. It was like one of the greatest memories of my childhood. But that was like the only time it ever happened. Like that wasn't like a commonplace thing. Like he was very like he grew up in such a strict household, and like his household was abusive and stuff like that. So like things that like just his stuff, things changed, and like you didn't see that from him a lot. But like when you did, like when he would break through and like have a good time, it was awesome to see. So like that's one of my favorite memories as a child. Like that was so much fun. Like doing that. I remember it. Like literally put it on and we just replayed it and replayed it and replayed it and replayed it. We all did the dance and it was great.
I love it.
And my father, yeah.
I bet he was just all smiles too.
He was having a great time.
Yep.
Absolutely. Beersky is getting wondered right now. Yes, I am, Ray. I am getting wondered. But I told him nothing was off limits and I was going to answer honestly. So here I am.
I did ask before we started. I said, "Is there anything you don't want me to cover?" He says, "Nope, we're all good." I said, "All right."
like an onion, Birch. Like a freaking stinky onion. He's peeling those layers back. 2 hours and 36 minutes into it. Now we're hitting the spicy questions.
Now we're in there. Yeah, I just had to get you warmed up, man. Get you warmed up. But on the other side, though, I mean, it sounds like a beautiful thing, and I'm sure, based on what little I know, I could see you telling me that those situations were probably far more frequent with your mom. Those kind of free for all, just having fun, being silly. Your mom seems like she might be that kind of woman that just loved to enjoy the kids and just take those moments to the maximum.
She loves us more than anything. That's for sure. She's great. My mom's always been great. She loves her husband, my father. That's great. And like that, can't take that away. Like that's whatever. But like she's always been good to me. Obviously we've had our issues like families do, but I'm so looking forward to seeing her. Like very, very much looking forward to seeing her in a week.
Joe wonders mom's taking. Don't worry, man. I'm taking too. I got it.
Yeah, she's great. Super positive.
That's what I would take away from just my little bit I know. I feel like she's like that super.
She never wanted the ironworker life for me. She never wanted me to join the military. She wanted so many other things for me. And, this life just shakes out the way life shakes out. But she's always been supportive of everything. And she's super supportive of Pokemon. So obviously she got me back into it, calling me or texting me.
Get your binder. Turn on TV.
Get your binder. Like,
I'm binding the Logan Paul break.
Yeah. Do you see like these cards sell for $1 million? I was like, I'm a millionaire. Like I have $1 million worth of cards upstairs. It was like
everything's first edition Shadow Charizard's in mint condition. Yeah. No problem, Mom.
Nope. Thanks, Mom. You're the best. I'm so
as a consolation prize, she bought you a T-shirt. So I mean,
right? She did.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah. Yeah, Mom's great. She's a really good lady. Her name's Tammy, for those who don't know.
Tammy.
She's just Tammy. A good lady. She always wanted to live in Florida. I'm very happy she finally got to go do that. They have a beautiful house with a pool, nice lanai, like the whole Florida experience. You know how they are. Everyone's got a screen porch with a pool.
Do you have the pink flamingo in the front yard?
I don't know if they have a pink flamingo, but it's very Florida. There's Bermuda grass and those crazy palm trees and palmetto bugs everywhere. You know how it is.
I love it, man. So looking back on this, we all do this. We have those tough moments. We have things that we wish were different, but when we sit and think about them, and again connecting those dots, looking back, we can see what it gave us in the present. What would you articulate to be some of the things that your upbringing has brought to you now to help you be successful?
Resilience. I think definitely there's a lot of highs and lows in my life. I alluded to like last year was a rough year for me. And Pokemon really, and it pulled me out. Like that was a big part of me healing from whatever I was going through last year. I think last year was one of the rougher years of my life up until like that. And I'm finally like starting to feel right again, like 100%, which is awesome.
Glad to hear.
But yeah, like Pokemon pulled me out, like being resilient, just knowing that like there will be another day tomorrow. Things are looking up. You just, I think resilience. I think growing up in that kind of environment and having that's a product of that. And like just, focusing and just you got to keep going. And like it's an every day, just like get up and do what you got to do and just keep chugging along. Things will get better if they're bad, and if they're good, you just strive to keep them good.
Can't rain all the time, right?
Nope, sure can't. And if it does, you get rain days, and they're great.
That's right. You turn on the video games.
The best ironworking phrase ever is, "If they were bullets, you'd be dead." We say that about the rain. So like, you look
I
up,
love that one.
If they were bullets, you'd be dead. Like we don't work in the rain. And everyone looks at us like we're crazy. We just don't do it. And they ironworkers in other spots of the country do it. Like if you don't work in the rain in Seattle, you don't work.
No,
it's always raining there.
Right.
Like ironworkers are climbing, stealing stuff, and that's crazy for us. Like we don't do it because it's unsafe. So we try not to. So like we make jokes about it. Like there's so many jokes about rain. Like you'll draw a circle in the dirt, and once there's like a raindrop in it, you're like, we're done. It's just so funny. Like we're just
it's like the kids on the snow day. I think I saw a snowflake.
We are the pain in the asses of the construction world for sure. We're untamed. It's so good.
I love it. Yeah, North Carolina is really bad about snow. As soon as you see a snowflake, the roads shut down. Everybody starts crashing their cars. It's like, oh my god.
There's Silicon Valley. There's a show called Silicon Valley on HBO, and they say that about California. Show. One guy goes, "There's like a quarter inch of snow, and they act like the whole world's coming to an end."
That's exactly right. That's the way it is here. We don't prepare. Like there's no salt on the roads. Everybody's just slipping off. It's terrible. It's terrible. Man, I want to think one more thing. I want to go through one more thing before we transition to the end here. Knowing what you know now, what are you hoping to instill in your daughter?
So I've talked about this with her before. Like I have the dad talks with her, that are like, and my wife's good at telling. She goes, "You just had a good dad talk." And that's always good hearing that from your wife when you do have a good dad talk. Yeah. Instilling to her to just be true to herself, follow your heart, and I think another movement is make sure that you're happy with what you do in life. Like don't have to fall back on something because make sure that what you're doing, and I want her to be happier than I am. I think every parent wants that.
Every parent does. Yeah.
I want her life to be leaps and bounds. I want to be looking at her and be so happy for her that she's doing great. She's a quirky little thing, and I love her to death. She's very musically talented. Trying to break her out of her shell. She's in some classes now. She's very shy with that stuff, but yeah, definitely be true to yourself. Follow your heart and definitely, be happy with what you do in life. And don't listen to a lot of the noise. That's been a big thing with her recently. 7th graders can be rotten, horrible creatures, as we all know, because we were all 7th graders at one point. Kids are rough.
Terrible game.
They're rough. And she's she's dealt with some stuff, and I just say, listen, like, and I think another thing I say, and it's probably a little inappropriate, but she says like the kids in her classes are idiots and stuff, and I look at her with like a straight face, and I went, they don't go away, kid. Like they're everywhere. They're gonna be at jobs. You're gonna deal with people you don't like who are idiots who are your boss. They're everywhere, so you just got to deal with it and just move on. And like that's a big thing. Like you just got to take a lot of stuff on the chin. I tell her like life's not easy. And I definitely instill her like it's not a fairy tale. It's not a fantasy. Like life is tough and it can be gritty and hard sometimes. And you just have to push forward through it. Again, the resilience thing. Like
it'll get you through.
It'll get you through.
Much.
Like grit will get you through a lot of stuff that brain and muscle can't get you through. So, grit's important.
I think they're all having a good time here. They don't want it to end.
I love it, dude. I have 997 chats to read. It popped up in my right-hand corner right now. 997.
Perfect.
Like going through puberty. It was rough, dude, man. I'll tell you. I had a lot of acne. The ladies were not liking what was going on here. Let me tell you.
Never would have guessed. Looks like a baby face from here, man. Baby face.
I didn't pick a lot, so I did a good job with that.
Well, man, this has been so much fun, my friend.
Yeah.
We always do. We ended on. These guys are crazy. Shoes has like 15.
It's only a 12. I have tiny feet for my size.
Yeah. I'm 12. I'm 6'4", and I'm on to 12 as well.
Oh,
so
see, there you go.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy.
Would have never known you were 6'4".
Yeah.
Lots
shorter.
of tall guys.
You were thought shorter?
Not many people are 6'4". You know what I mean? Like, not many people are 6'4". It's hard to tell heights on like TV. Like, you can't tell by how you're sitting in your chair. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where my head is. Like, where's your head? Like, it's not necessarily shorter. It's just hard. It's hard to tell size. Like, Dan said he was 6'4". Dan's like a tall 6'4". He's taller than me.
No, like, he's not 6'4". He's like
7'4". Yeah, right. He's huge.
I don't walk up to many people and have to look upward. I was like, oh, hey, Dan.
Yeah.
I see you there.
I'd rather be sassy than tall. Walrus.
And as we think about this here at the end, my friend, so many of us have a hard time just getting started. And that's usually the hardest part. I look at your journey. I look at all the things you've been accomplishing, and I know that you will continue to do so. And whether it be your YouTube channel, going to your first Collecticon, reaching out to the friends and making so many here, making big changes in life for your best interest of your family. But those first steps are always the hardest. What would you say to those that are looking, they're on the fence, they don't know what they should do? What would be your advice to take that first step?
Oh, man. I guess take the leap, trust in yourself.
Yeah.
I think Dan says it the best all the time. You have your best interest in mind. No one else does. Like, you personally have your best interests in mind. Obviously, if you meet a good spouse, they have your best interests in mind too, but you do. Like, take the leap. Again, scared money doesn't make money. I think that applies to a lot of things in life. Like, if you don't go out and grab stuff that's not going to fall in your lap. It does happen, but it's
rarely, very
freaking rare. And there's a lot of things that led up to that where people weren't, you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole line of stuff happened before people were getting at it for you to get that. So yeah, take the leap and just go for it. If you think it's something that you need to do, it's something in your life that is going to make you fulfilled, jump in and get it. Because if I didn't jump in, I was so on the fence about going to that Collecticon, back and forth. And I was like, I'm just going to go and do it. And you just got to jump. And that was hard for me to do. Like, that was a big step for me, because I was, like I said, last year was rough, and that pulled me out of a lot of the rough stuff that I was in. Like, being there, like, that was the most fun I had felt in a while. And I was just like, wow, like, it was life again. I was like, this is great. Like, you feel the blood flowing, man. So jump in.
Just go all in. And it's funny because I was watching the latest Pokemon Horizons with the kids, and Freed is like the new kind of lead guy there, with Charizard and Captain Pikachu. And so Freed's walking with Liko, and they're going down this path, and they were trying to pick a direction to go. And one of the kids says, "Let's just go this way." And she goes, "Is this right? Is this the right way?" And Freed looks at her and says, "Just go down the path and start taking a step. You can always go back and try a different path.
Yep.
But just start walking."
Professor Oak says it. Yeah, go continue. I'm sorry.
No, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, Professor Oak said it best. Not glass half full or glass half empty. It's just a glass of water and take a sip. That's right. Like, and that's
quench
great. Like, that's quench my. That is one of the best. Like, that's advice everyone should live by. And like Oak, another giant in the hobby.
Yeah, love that guy,
dude. Great. Like that is when he said that, like, talk about thought provoking. I was like, what? Like this guy's got like what? This is that UK knowledge that they're hiding from us.
Exactly.
Over there. They've been hoarding away. Like, whoa, get philosophical on us here. Yeah, just take the sip of water, man, or beer, whatever it is. Like,
liquid. Either way.
Just take a sip. Just go for it. Like it. The worst. Again, the worst thing they had. What you get told no.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Or didn't work out.
Or it didn't work out. At least you won't have a regret going back. Yeah, listen, the guy puts mayo on his pizza. No thanks. Oh man.
Yeah, I still hadn't tried that one yet, Oak. Sorry, buddy.
Neither have I. I don't think that's something I'll ever try.
It's looking like Beerski's stack of single cars to be listed on eBay right now. Let's go close that box.
That's great.
All right, Beerski. We'll end it here, my friend, as we always do. One day we're going to leave this hobby. What legacy do you hope to leave behind when you're gone?
I hope to leave by the legacy of, honesty, loyalty, and just, someone that people got along with, someone that brought joy to some people. I know I'm not big monster in this hobby. I know a handful of people. I feel super blessed to know all of you guys. Like, it warms my heart talking to you all. Like, I just hope, like, when I die, people go like, Beerski was awesome. Like, really, that's it. Like, that was an awesome dude. That's what I want. Like, I don't want people to look back and be like, that guy was a prick. Like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we don't want.
I don't play Halo with him, I guess. Right?
Like, I don't want that. Like, I want people like, yeah, he was a good time and he was fun, and he never did anything to hurt anyone. That's really what I want. Like, people to remember me by, just being a good person.
Well, you know what the good news is, don't you, Beersky?
What's the good news?
They already say that now, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Wonder. Thank you.
They already say it now, so you've already accomplished it, man.
Right
Just
on.
don't mess it up.
Yeah, well, that's a hard thing. Once you're at the top, I feel like Marv in Home Alone right now. Hey, Harry, I've made it to the top.
That was a good one. Man, as always, such a blast. Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for the time. A big thank you to Sarah for donating your time to us as well. Greatly appreciate it. Happy belated Mother's Day to Sarah. I'm sure he treated you very nicely. I'm sure. Beerski, your podcast, everything's down below. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you go check them out. We also have the Box Podcast also down below. Make sure you give a like, give a little bit of a comment there on each one of the videos if you can. Really appreciate the support, guys. And as always, we appreciate your time here with us. We couldn't do it without you. It means the world to us. And without you, it wouldn't even be worth it. So thank you so much. And we hope to see you on the next Rants, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.